the Six Invitational 2025, and we have got a hot crowd out here, right? It's only Friday. Now this place is officially sold out. By the time Sunday rolls around and we get into grand final territory, this place is going to be rocking. But for now, it is our final series on this fine Friday. So let's bring out our two teams onto the stage, starting with Europe's last hope for a world championship here in Boston. It's BDS! We know how good they are. We know it. But they have to prove it here if they want to stand shoulder to shoulder with the greats. Can they do it? Battling in Boston for back to back. It's FURIA! Looking to become the first ever five-man roster to raise the hammer twice in consecutive years. True history on the line for them here, and they've proven that they can do the impossible before. Filippox, and you come up here, and Lickifat, come and join me as well. Just briefly, I know how intense this is. This is a little bit of a rivalry in itself. How are you feeling ahead of this one?
Feeling really good. FURIA will be a good opponent and it will be an extreme game for sure.
Filippox, I know that you were watching very recently the documentary that saw you do the impossible in Sao Paulo. Did that inspire you to do it all over again here in Boston?
Yeah, watching that made me feel so emotional. It was just amazing what we did last year. So it motivates us more to maybe do that again. And yeah, I'm just very hyped to play.
And for you, Lickifat, it's a chance to make your own piece of history here.
Yes, it will be my dream if we manage to win all the game incoming.
All right, can we get a handshake? BDS versus FURIA. Let's do it.
Hello, it's Lickifat from Team BDS.
I'm Filippox and I'm from FURIA.
Is FURIA unstoppable? No, I mean they play boiling team, so it's not the boiling team they're going to play. We are Team BDS, so it will be easy for us.
Yeah, I really think we're going to beat BDS because we're the better team right now. I think we're the best team because we have 5 very good individual players.
The biggest weakness of FURIA is us, because the last time during Esports World Cup they lost to us and they weren't in before, so yeah, it's us.
We have no weakness and everyone will know soon. Maybe one of BDS's weaknesses right now are their tactics. I think we are kind of better on this meta. We are really good on like almost every map.
I think the FURIA season was a bit disappointing because after they won everything last year, we expect them to be one of the best teams in this year. But this is SI, so no excuse for them to not be on the top, and we are going to show them that they are not anymore on the top, and it's our turn.
We face a lot of great opponents and we haven't dropped a map yet, so I don't think they're going to beat us. I think it's going to be a 2-0.
I think FURIA got an easy time so far, but we are going to be the one to stop them.
Yes, I think we're going to be undefeated the whole tournament, not losing hopefully a single map since our debut, and getting our first hammer undefeated.
The hammer is coming home with us.
This is our destiny, we will not be stopped.
Two giants of Siege ready to battle it out live in front of you watching at home and this crowd here in Boston. Let's do a quick check. Who's gonna take it? Will it be FURIA? Will it be BDS? Will it be FURIA? Or will it be BDS? All right, let's get into this one. Dez and Xenox are casting the action for this one.
Certainly excited for this one, Ian. A massive match, upper bracket final time, BDS, FURIA. One of them, Dez, of course, has really had a lot of success in recent times, that being, of course, FURIA back on the old W7M roster days. For BDS, it feels like it's always been a little too close, too far for them. Multiple opportunities. You think of Manchester, you think of Montreal, both times falling short. Here is their opportunity, one step away from a grand final at Six Invitational.
Big thing for BDS is they're always in the conversation though, right? They might not go the full stretch, but at some point, your luck's got to twist. You give yourself enough shots on goal, you'll score at some point. And for BDS, they're fancying it to be this one, but I do worry just how good FURIA have looked. They've largely gone under the radar, right? This is the thing. They lost to CAG at the start, and as the analyst there said, people kind of writ them off and think, they're still not quite back here. We didn't really see them perform last year. They're done. Since then, they have been unstoppable, topping nearly every stat there is to top. No one's catching up to them at this point. Entry is the most impressive for me. 61% entry rate is unheard of at a big international event like this. It could still come down now we're against the big teams. We've got the sharp end of things to play out. But I still think BDS have really got their work cut out for them.
They certainly have, because FURIA have peaked at the right time. You know, kind of what you're touching on there, I can elaborate a little bit more, whereas this is a roster that when we concluded Six Invitational last year, that dynasty role was kind of given to them, that tag, and they couldn't quite then back it up going into 2024, the further events that were to come. But coming into this Six Invitational, as you said, under the radar, and outside of that opening match loss to CAG, which was quite a surprise, since then they've been pretty much flawless, and they're getting better and better as the tournament progresses. If they can make the grand final once again, with all of the experience that roster has, they will be a very difficult prospect to take down. For me, this feels like the best opportunity if you are a BDS. This is not the grand final, upper bracket final, but it's still, you can get yourself into that grand final today and avoid having to play tomorrow.
That's the real big thing for me, is you avoid the stress of having to play tomorrow. If you've got to play today, tomorrow, and then prep for a grand final, it's a lot that you've got to think about. So in their position, in both teams, you want to get this done here. You want to have tomorrow to watch the games, to prep, to analyze, to understand your opponent.
So let's get into this upper bracket final, shall we? The moment has certainly arrived for these two teams, as BDS and FURIA are going to go head-to-head, and quite literally head-to-head on the predictions here between these two juggernaut rosters. A spot in the Six Invitational Grand Final is up for grabs.
Big question is, who walks away with it? Obviously, only one way to find out is getting into things. We'll speak more about these maps as we get in through the series. Cafe is going to be that first one that we launch into. For both teams, one of those maps that we were speaking about actually before we even came into the series, saying this could be a real tight one. It feels like a great map to start things off on. Both have had some real strong points. For example, BDS didn't drop a single defense on this map against Falcons. FaZe have had FURIA, I've done this already too many times today. FURIA have had a pretty good showing on it as well. So for both teams, it feels like a great place to start. Naturally, FURIA are going to feel more confident though.
Yeah, they've also just got themselves out of the server temporarily just as we were about to kickstart. So I think we're going to be able to start getting into this one now. Upper bracket final, BDS and FURIA. The winner will go into the Six Invitational Grand Final. So the moment has arrived. Haven't we been waiting for this upper bracket final? BDS so close to the ultimate glory. Something that they have been searching for some time. For FURIA, that glory, they tasted success last year, winning that hammer. Another opportunity could present this year. Shall they make the grand final?
Also worth reminding again, blue team start on defense, therefore bans are currently flipped. Small visual bug we have with team names at the moment. So it was BDS that banned away the Blackbeard, because why the hell would BDS ban away Deimos away from Shaiko? We know that it's his go-to operator. Nearly every single map they're playing at this competition, Deimos is being banned because we've seen what Shaiko can do when he's given that operator. Also going to see FURIA taking away the Valkyrie here. Blackbeard, of course, being taken away by BDS, and one shield being taken offline. Brede quite likes Monty, so you might see that coming out of points. And BDS going to close out the banning with the mirror. Just make some real solid defensive points on this map. So screams to me if nothing else. You want to see them trying to be a little bit more fluid when they're on their attacking side of things. Xenox, but to begin with, it's BDS on the defense. FURIA on the attack, and I think all eyes will fall to how this attacking half starts out. What kind of statement of intent are FURIA going to make in these first few rounds to show that they deserve to win this map and make it into our grand final after the end of this series?
It's an interesting map as well. Cafe, when we were kind of in the green room looking at the potential maps that we may see in this upper bracket final, this was not one that necessarily we didn't expect. But we didn't really have it high on the list simply because it's a map that neither of these two have necessarily been able to play much in recent time. Only a 2-2 record when it comes to BDS and a 1-1 record when it comes to FURIA. So it's certainly a case of not necessarily that these teams don't like this map, they just don't always get the opportunity to play it. For FURIA, it's a map that actually gets banned away from them for a lot of their competitive play. So now they've got the opportunity and they go to it. They will be on attack first up. Of course, Cafe does lend itself to be rather defender-sided. So I am anticipating BDS to get off to a good start.
You're looking at stats for this map, I want to say earlier. And what was the number that you had for the basement site? Was it the most defender-sided site in the game right now?
72%. It is actually the most defender-sided site in all maps.
Somewhere, Tim is crying tears of joy because for the longest time, teams would start off on Bar Cocktail. And he would say, well, look at the stats across the world, and it is the worst site on this map, believe it or not. It's the hardest to defend, probably because there's not a whole lot of map to clear, whereas down in the basement, potentially you've got to work your way through all 3 floors, get lots of vertical destruction opened up before you can even think about hitting it. And I'm taking a look here at FURIA's comp, right? I'm seeing the Buck on side, I'm seeing the Sledge on side, even to a degree the Jackal. They want to make use of vertical play here, which means getting in on that first floor, on the second floor, and starting to threaten the members of BDS who are playing downstairs. We have got the Mozzie at the minute running around up on this top floor, so keeping them busy for a while at least is going to be BDS. They don't want to give the map over away for free. Herd's going to be the first to fall down. We were speaking about him being a player we need to see step up today. At least in this first round, that is not going to be the case.
Yeah, an incredible jump from BDS. They go full top floor here on the roam, which is meaning that FURIA more time needs to be wasted. JB can't win the battle against Lucky Back and Solotov. So, 2-player advantage to begin for BDS. So far, a rather clean start. They'll be more than happy with that. FURIA have to dig themselves out of a hole in the opening round. Never really even got going in this round.
No, it's been slow. And I think that's maybe the problem is they were trying to catch and isolate these players. It's why they've got the Jackal on side. They were looking for that Mozzie on the top floor, but Solotov remains elusive. Yes, he's being tracked out, but they've done a lot of damage. They've got rid of 2 kills. The Zophia's gone. The hard breach of the Ace has been removed, so things like small bakery, or sorry, main bakery aren't going to be so easy to open up anymore. The drops come on through, and they're going to try and force this one, but a C4 and smoke just rains on through, and there is nothing that FURIA can do to save this one. KZ will do his very best. He might be the best player at the tournament here, Xenox, but I don't think he can bring down 4 players by himself.
No, I don't think so. Nor does he really need to. It's only the opening round, the best defensive side on Cafe as well. Gets rid of the drone, why not? But a great start for BDS, and the confidence for them to go on the full roam up above, full top floor, forced FURIA into this little sandwich position when they tried to go a little bit towards that second floor. And when they did go up above, BDS had all of the answers as KZ. Obviously not going to give up on this round. You're not going to give up on any round. The Six Invitational, let alone an upper bracket final, but well positioned and well poised currently the BDS defenders as they are making sure they don't give him any kind of chance. There is no need to swing unless the kill is guaranteed, and it is by Brede. And BDS on the board in the upper bracket final. Hello, Tom.
In case you're wondering who's responsible for the many chants, if you do want to join in, and go and sit near Tom, and I'm sure he's got a good few lyrics for you to share. It's quite an intricate one before we got into things when Ian was trying to interview them on the stage. But I think for me, that was just the most solid round I think I've seen from BDS in a long while. And we've seen some good rounds this tournament, but everything was super disciplined and composed. From how long they were out on the roam for, the kill they were securing in a 2v1 on white stairs, to them falling back to playing 3-man crossfire onto bottom brown stairs there at the end of the round. They look damn good, and FURIA look a little bit slow. I don't want to get too excited for BDS yet because we saw what happened earlier on for Unwanted. The first 2 rounds of their map, they weren't really here. The team play wasn't quite clicking. They weren't playing for trades. It didn't look too fantastic for them. So it might just be for FURIA. They need a few rounds to get settled into this one, and then you'll see a different team come online. Yep. The problem for them is they're on the attack of Cafe, and you can't really afford to let 3, 4, 5 rounds fall by the wayside.
It's only the opening round, Des.
It is, but if it builds into 2, 3, 4, then we've got a problem.
Yeah, well,
serious
just
problem.
Yet. Again, first floor on Cafe, best defensive site. So now we move upwards throughout Cafe, and this is when FURIA can get a little bit more involved. BDS will be ready. Tricky lineup when it does come to FURIA, though. Certainly could indicate a bit of a fast play at some point in this round. You kind of mentioned they were a little bit slow in the previous one. They may look to pick up the pace here in the second round.
I think it's crazy. I mean, Dokkaebi and Lion by themselves are already impressive. We all remember the days of those two terrorizing our ranked games. We've also got the Grim on side with the Bees to make the execute itself a lot easier. The Amara was to be a little bit cheeky. Some players pick up the Amara, and it's not because they want to make use of that Gara hook. It's much more about the guns that are available to you and the flashes in back pocket. Here, though, it is being used to straight into hell immediately. They're pushing it aggressively here. Shaiko shuts down KZ. Great first player to find, and now everything draws to a slow.
Yeah, I mean, this is Herd just being patient. He's pinned down. He needs a little bit more help, but eventually JV is going to make his way up Brown. Does not work, though. Still trades out 1-for-1 in that moment. Leaves us in a 3 versus 3. Of course, a lot of time still remaining in this round, and certainly FURIA looking to pick up the pace in this second round. Hasn't necessarily benefited them all that much, but it does open up the map now in a 3 versus 3, and it allows Nade to go and stick the plant inside of Mining, and it will be uncontested. BDS have allowed them to just walk into the site and get a free plant, and suddenly there's only now 40 seconds left in the post plant for Leapox. Huge kill onto Solitop. Hurts watching red stairs perfectly. BDS have just suddenly gone to sleep, and Brede gets put to sleep, and FURIA with an early attacking round.
I was really nervous when FURIA went so fast there at about the 2:20 mark. 5 seconds more, and you've got that first Dokkaebi call online. It makes the execute that much easier. But they saw a gap. They saw the two players that were isolated, pick them off, and then site was completely barren. There was no one on red anymore. There was no one playing around pillars. They got the kills they needed to open up a plant, and that's all that had to be said for it. Herds immediately is in the little chat, making Shaiko aware of his presence. Good night, Shaiko, he says. Was a good first couple of kills coming out from Herds. After that first round, he was dead very, very quickly without any real impact. But BDS now are probably very aware that FURIA are here to play. They've gone from a very slow round to a very quick one. And now BDS will always be asking themselves, why if they do that again?
Well, that's the response that FURIA probably needed. I don't necessarily think they absolutely must have won that round, but it's the way in which they got themselves into it. And admittedly, when it comes to Mining as well, if you do get rid of a lot of those defenders, it makes it so much harder on a rather split kind of site to, of course, cover both angles horizontally, let alone then also vertically. And I think that's why they were able to kind of just slip in through the defense, get themselves the easy plant, play the post plant rather comfortably. FURIA on the board as well, 1-1 to begin the upper bracket final, and it will be almost a repeat as we head, of course, to Fireplace and Reading.
We've seen some really interesting bans against FURIA on this map historically. Striker and Doc was one that they've seen so far in this tournament. And you see those bans and you think, wait, surely their opponent's trolling. Who the hell bans away Doc for one, but Striker on the other? FURIA actually one of the few teams where they've got Striker in one of their most played operator lists of the tournament because of the flexibility you get from this operator. Flashes being as powerful as they are, nades being, finding new use in a way. We've seen players on border especially tossing one on either side of a player that can be set on 90, and it's like if you go left, you're going to die because you haven't got time to get away from the nade. You go right, you're going to die because, again, no time to get away from the nade. You're forced to rotate and you're picked off by a player that's there waiting for you. So you can use those nades really effectively, even if they are massively weakened compared to what they were when you used to be able to cook them and toss them skywards.
So Reading and Fireplace expecting FURIA will go top floor down clear. KZ can use those Candelas over towards Skylight. Whether that also Baby B, top red stairs, eventually Cocktail. You want to clear out this top floor, push BDS off of the verticality. Has already thrown out one of those Candelas. Of course, the defense from BDS up above.
His Army and Piano. It is such a nuisance to clear this operator out of this room. Because of the number of places that you can pop down these keeper barriers, you can protect yourself from the window. If you're bringing in things like magnets as well, it can make it an even bigger nightmare. But when you stack it up with the Mutant and Mozzie to deny away information, you've got goo mines surrounding the room. It's so tough to get in there, and normally it's a room that you can't play inside of, and that's just why his Army is so powerful. Creating dynamic defenses where you want it.
Look at the time, Des, though. I mean, there's a minute 20, and they're still on the exterior. There's no real map control. FURIA aren't pushing BDS back yet. Really, it's at this point, if BDS wanted to, they could look to forego Cocktail at this point. Candela's being overused as well towards White Corridor, so not then going to be able to use for executes or clearing out positions like Cocktail. I mean, right now, BDS are holding on really nicely until the push-up. Oh, Leapox! Double kill. White Stairs is his, and with that, the round may go the way of FURIA because they find 3 very quick kills. BDS, again, when it comes to these contact fights, they just don't look ready, Des.
And they don't have a clue what's going on to the left. A flawless round for FURIA. And the thing is about that round for me, Xenox, it was slow for half, and then the last few seconds were lightning quick. The Candelas weren't to execute with, they were to force out areas of the map to push BDS back. And once they knew they were all on site, well, that backstab for Leapox coming up from bottom white, just so beautifully timed. And it feels across those last 2 rounds like BDS have been shot without retaliation more times than we'd like to count. Not quite aware of what's going on, being caught off guard. FURIA in full control here on Cafe.
Well, that amazing start for BDS in the opening round has been short-lived. 2 attacking rounds found for FURIA already. It is their map pick. But for me, the concern is these pushes. I mean, for Leapox, just no one watching White Stairs. You've got one inside that's completely caught off guard. The trade eventually tries to come through from top White, but he's quick with the reflexes because he understands he's going to get traded. And he's just come up from bot White, so it can only probably be from top. Quick reflex around, gets the kill, and 2 in a row for FURIA here. A good way to start this upper bracket final for them.
I think what FURIA have done so well is just soak attention, right? Draw BDS eyes upwards. When you've got Candelas coming in, you've got 2 or 3 players running around bar cocktail. Quite naturally, you're thinking, okay, they're taking top floor and they're clearing downwards. The last thing you expect when you're trying to defend down there is to have someone walk their way at White and completely cut off your retreat back towards site. And that's exactly what Leapox did. So BDS really have got to be super aware. You know, is all that we're seeing here true? Is there someone coming on a bit of a flank? Is there someone coming for a backstab? Because they will pay the price if they aren't showing FURIA the respect they demand. We've seen that first quarter complete now, that 3-side rotation. Going to see the same 3 sides again, starting out down inside a kitchen. FURIA have got a lot of tools here to do the job with. Once again, those 2 vertical operators and Buck and the Sledge. The Capitao, excellent for executing with, and they managed to do it all without the ace last time. Here, Hertz is still alive.
I kind of want to see BDS get a little bit more aggro in the early portion of these rounds. FURIA are so good in the earlier portion of the round, so if you're not aggressive towards them, if you're not trying to take the fight to them, you could eventually then get pushed in later in the round, which is kind of what we're seeing. So for BDS, an opportunity back over towards Kitchen. Again, the best defensive site here on Cafe, let alone the whole game right now, at least at Six Invitational. And so I guess if you did want to play a little bit back, you could, sure. But FURIA so far have shown really, really good mechanical skill when they're pushing into deep positions. So BDS need to be far more alert for these attacks from FURIA.
It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? I mean, Candelas are being thrown at your face and you're not playing on a ward, and it's like, well, do I stand here and hope they don't push me? It's just a bait. Or do I actually fall back and respect the Candela that's just gone off in front of me? That's the hard decision they're facing themselves in, and it just feels, again, like FURIA are the ones in command as to how these rounds are being played out. They're dictating the tempo so far. Now finding themselves on side, getting rid of those Vulcan canisters, being popped out by the shot drones. And now they see the feet as well. We all have a little toe snap, but nothing to come off it. Leaking back foot low, and KZ, well, his demon is Shaiko in this game because he's found him a good few times so far, Jake.
It's a good start for Shaiko as well with the opening kills of these rounds. That's something he struggled with at the tournament, but he's already found 2 to begin here on Cafe.
Yeah.
Good sign for him, which means good signs for BDS. 60 seconds left in this 4th round. This almost already feels like a must-win for BDS. Battle towards Red Stairs, and Shaiko finds the head of the Leapox. With that now, a very good advantage for BDS. Now he does get him through the floorboards. And just keeps hope alive for FURIA in this round.
He's done a lot of the work there. He's got 2 kills, Shaiko, and that can be enough to see the shutout. They've no longer got the Capitao. There's no fire, there's no smoke. Things they need to get this plant down is now minimized to the Twitch's smoke nades. That's not going to be enough, I don't think, against BDS, not least when there's a Warden on the other side with Solotov.
2 Nitro Cells, 4 impacts as well for BDS. They've got a lot of utility, but it means nothing if JV walks in, gets a free kill. Nitro avoided, still 1 more in the back pocket. There was 1 down, now out. That's hurt. 20 seconds, big kill nade. Suddenly, a 2 versus 2. Solodov gets the kill, gets the second one as well. They needed that one, BDS. It's early days, Des, but with 2 attacking rounds found in quick succession for FURIA, that felt like a pivotal round for Team BDS.
It's crazy how even when Shaiko is managing to find 2 kills like that and really upset the balance of the round, give his team a massive advantage. It was a great response by FURIA in the 2v1, by the way. But even with that, it still comes down to a 2 versus 2 that requires Solotov to hit 2 crazy headshots and see the round over the line. FURIA are keeping it close no matter what BDS do on the other side. It really is staying neck and neck between the 2. Great stuff from both teams. It is that close game that we came to expect. My main nervousness lies around the fact this is the attacking half of FURIA. They get going good here on this map, or in this half. Start to worry for BDS when it comes to the flip on the other side, because if they're not up to it in the same way FURIA are on the attacking half, well, I just feel like that first map should definitely go the way of FURIA.
Definitely can feel the patience from BDS in that round, but they also did have a little bit more aggression over towards Red Stairs. The push, get a couple kills, opens things up for them, and so far they've looked their best on that first floor. The issue is they haven't won anything outside of it, and that in itself is a big issue. You're going to have to find more than just 2 defensive rounds for BDS on Cafe. Arguably, I still think they need the next 2. I think FURIA is already in a really, really good position so far through the opening 4 rounds that have been played. If they can find at least one more attacking round, it does mean for BDS they're going to have to dig deep into that second half and find themselves their own attacking round. Little setup here, uses towards top red stairs, playing off of noise contact to see if he can get an early kill with the Nitro Cell.
Not going to happen as no one's trying to repel up this side of the building. I do have the respect being shown by FURIA. They're not dropping away from wanting to have this rapid playstyle with the Ying, with the Lion on side, with the Amaru, but they have changed over and brought on the Nomad for the first time. Typically a Shaiko operator, actually, that you'll see an awful lot in the second half, I'm sure. That's just appreciated. Okay, guys, we got caught out in that last round. We adapt, we improve, we change, and we keep on moving forwards. I do think it's going to be hard for BDS to get away with another naughty 2K like Shaiko did up on red stairs, because JV is going to be locking those stairwells up tight once they've got this top floor control. But that's why there's a big when they have top floor control, because right now, they're still fighting for it.
Good pressure outside of the building right
now.
And double! He got the kill onto Shaiko with the hook as he made his entry. Finished him off, and KZ gets rid of Liquifac. And this is an incredibly dominant round for FURIA. They've just a couple of times now, they're shown that proficiency to just hit that go button at the right time, and BDS have not really been able to deal with it.
There's no better right time than when someone's in front of a window so you can get a Gara hook kill. Very few players that all can say they've got that accolade. But Nade has just delivered and got the second kill off the back of it. Again, it's another one of those moments where you just feel like you're breaking the backbone of BDS there, and they're collapsing around it. Liquifac threw himself out of a window, it's worth noting, to try and get something back, but nothing came his way. FURIA are leaving so little room for BDS to be able to work with here. It's excruciating to watch if you're a BDS fan, but very impressive if you're back in FURIA to go on and win that second hammer.
They just continued to play some of their best Siege from the next game to the next game, and it's happening again here. This still might actually be the best we've seen from FURIA so far in Six Invitational. They are saving their best for the biggest moments. And right now, this upper bracket final, we're getting the most out of FURIA. Big kill for Brede, and a second, but the lead box there shuts him down. It was a 1v4 attempt. Too many numbers on the side of FURIA for Brede to pull off anything spectacular. But it is three attacking rounds already for FURIA. They've made an early statement in this upper bracket final.
They don't really look like they've broken much of a sweat either.
The benefit up here, Des, we can kind of look down at them.
We can. I'm enjoying being able to get the observation from up here and see what's going down and what the comms are like. I wait to see the timeout coming at any point. BDS, of course, not calling that in here. But I would have liked to think this would be the time to do it. This is beautiful, by the way. Again, very rarely do you get to see a Gara hook kill coming out, but that was beautiful to get rid of not just Shaiko, but Solotov at the same time. That was Liquifac's jump out that I mentioned. Didn't get anything for it. And honestly, the round from there was lost. Sure, Brede collected a couple of kills, started to inspire some hope, but I don't think he's going to be able to get everything done by himself. And sure enough, FURIA just there, ready to collapse. They could go up 4-2 on this attacking half here, which would be fantastic for Cafe and how it's played out so far across the tournament. BDS, they'll be begging to get this third round over the line. It feels like a real scrap. It feels like they're against an unstoppable force here in FURIA, who seemingly don't find a way to slow down. They've made small changes to go along. I mentioned that Nomad in the last round. They're figuring things out as they move, but even then, they're still clear of the teams they're coming up against, and that is what is so terrifying. Let's see how things shape up, though, with a second floor defense. Going to be reading and fireplace, and naturally, once again, we're going to see BDS step up to the top floor and get themselves set up there. Solotov, with these keeper barriers, no doubt playing around piano here and trying to waste as much time as possible.
So final round of the opening half, FURIA have really shot out of the gate. Now it's up to BDS to just kind of claw things back slowly, round by round. They really must get this defensive round, though, at least taking 3-3-half into the second. So far, FURIA have been the ones, in my eyes, that just look better, look sharper, look cleaner. They want to go, they want to be aggressive when they want to, though. So they're just setting the tone, and BDS are kind of playing second fiddle. They're reacting. They're not proactive on this defense. They are reactive, and it's not working for them.
It is hard when FURIA can go from 0 to 100 in the space of about half a second, as we saw a couple of rounds ago, a minute and 30 of nothing, and then 5 seconds of, well, everybody's dead. They have the ability to turn it on just like that. First and foremost, they're trying to break open the piano side of things here, force away Solotov. Those keepers in back pocket that I mentioned could be a real nuisance to move on through. It feels like even he's realized now that there's a lot of pressure starting to build up, and instead has dropped away to playing inside a bathroom. So conceded piano, I wouldn't say super early here. We are about a minute and 20 into the round, but it is clear for FURIA to start their push forward.
BDS just need to hold good key positions here, make sure they don't have any weak areas that FURIA can look to exploit when they go for these attacks. They go fast and they Get really deep in towards the side. You can see Nate off into the distance. He does have the diffuser.
There's not much that he can do, admittedly, because they've got a castle barricade here between Lumber and Cocktail. He can't step inside. He can't use that window to really challenge onto anyone. So he's sat here waiting for his team to make the call and say, yeah, you can go in now. Solotov baiting in Herds, suddenly spinning on a dime and finding him out. The second one going their way as JV falls down as well. It's looking good for BDS.
KZ, freebie, gets the kill on to Shaiko from down below. Philippe Potts, though, deep over towards Bar, losing his life. Good Nitro Soul to finish him off. A chance, second almost there. Got one, but not the one to follow as KZ finds himself in a 1 versus 3, has 50 seconds, does not have the diffuser, it's in a bad spot, and it's going to take a large amount of time for him to be able to go and get that. So the only world in which KZ, I think, is going to be able to win this is if he does get the kills, because even though he has been able to acquire the kit, there's nowhere that's safe to go.
Oh my.
That's one. Don't just start running at them. Bride puts an end to the round because I had my heart in my mouth for a split second. You can't be running around on site with KZ still in the server. 3-3 half though, Des. I know it's all even on the scoreboard, but arguably getting that extra attacking round for FURIA puts them in a slightly better position.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure every BDS fan just took a big sigh of relief that that half is over. That felt punishing. And that last round, yes, BDS looked the most convincing, but it took that long to really get settled there and deal with what FURIA were throwing at them. We were worried about FURIA maybe coming in a little bit slow after round 1, but they just started cooking from then on forwards. It was really tough for the French side to get anything back on. They've now done so. It's that 3-3. Get that side swap. I'm a little bit nervous about how BDS attack here because as good as BDS are, and this is certainly no way to say, oh, it's easy to deal with BDS, otherwise everyone would do it. I think their attacks become a little bit predictable. They're not enormous shield players. They absolutely love Dokkaebi. The thing that I often reel off about them is they've got 3 players that love playing Dokkaebi. I've got her in the top 3 operators. Solotov, Yuzus, and Leakyfact. All 3 of them player. You know that their attacks are so often built around playing behind that operator that you know, understand, as soon as you hear a call coming in, cool, BDS is starting to move forward, they're going to look for kills. Again, that doesn't make it easy to deal with, but you know what to expect from them in the rounds. Bride changing over to playing on the Monty as well. I did say we don't see tons of shield play out of BDS. You're not going to see loads of Blackbeard, loads of Blitz, for example, but if anyone's going to play it, it is going to be Bride.
And we do go top floor as well.
And you're seeing now why that dot ban came in last time around as well, because KZ at the first opportunity has jumped straight on that operator.
Can BDS kickstart the second half with an attacking round? It would certainly put them right back into this game if they could take the lead, get an early attacking round here on Cafe. So far, all tied up in this upper bracket final. Bride on the Montang will be one to watch and see how he elects to push in towards the building, whether it be a top red drop. Could look to try and bully over towards White Stairs. There is one over there, which is Philippe Potts on the Jaeger. Track stingers go out from users. So far on the roof is the Montang. Bride, of course, does have the kit. They need to clear out shop, and this is where the Montang can be useful.
I mean, look at the lineup, right? They've got themselves so set up for this. You've got a Warden, you've got a Doc, you've got Jaeger ADS, you've got the Mine Magnets. They do not want to give anything over to BDS. They're willing to fight them for every single part of this map if they have to. So as much as BDS are trying to force their way in and do have some control over here, I just get the sense it's going to be really tough to clear through any of the utility that's scattered around the rest of this top floor.
Shaiko's got himself over towards shop. There was the retake over towards Pistol. Shaiko's going to be careful though. Here comes the Montang. Bride making his way in towards shop. BDS slowly but surely want to start trying to get more control and pressure towards the site and clear out FURIA from Bar.
They must know about the Pixel player. They must know that KZ is dug in here. Because they've got a player on Windows sat watching his hand. Oh,
beautiful.
I told you, man. Shaiko is KZ's nemesis. He's giving him nothing in this game.
Look how
deep up in the face as well. They've got another one coming in. A 5 versus 1 and Philippe Potts try as he might. BDS have just held every angle where we could anticipate FURIA coming back to site and have dealt with them beautifully in that round.
Tremendous push from BDS. Slow, concise, but it was always together as a team. And they get themselves an early attacking round. It just changes the narrative a little bit here of Cafe, because after the 3 attacking rounds were found for FURIA, I was starting to get the sense that they had really good control of this map. BDS have got themselves back into a position where they now lead up 4-3. Of course, still need to get more attacking rounds. That's going to be easier said than done. But they've already shown that they have the proficiency to take down FURIA's defense, and they did so flawlessly as well to kickstart the second half.
Shaiko has been straight in the all chat after that round. Of all people, he's not really a big speaker, but came in there saying, Herds, since the nice shot earlier, 0 kills. He was 4-2 at one point, Herds was, and has really struggled to find himself back on the board since then. It's not looking too good for him. But that just shows that BDS is still battling back in. They've still got the lead here, up at 4 and 3, but a big change in lineup coming out from FURIA as well. Not going in towards the Dog, not going in towards Jaeger or Mai. This ain't the Siege of 2 years ago. It's a very different game since then. And instead going back to a more conventional comp here. What I love is they're so lined up behind some of these architects, where you've got the castle, you've got the Aruni on the other side, you've also, of course, got the Azami stepping in. All three of them can really help fortify up a defense here and make it tough for BDS to chew on through. They need a lot of throwing utility if they're going to work their way through. Gon 6s will also help, of course. They have got a few of those on side, but I think BDS might just say, you know what? Don't worry about it, mate. Direct towards side might well be the plan. They've got the Dokkaebi on side, they've got FURIA on that blitz. I mentioned you won't see him play it too often, but when they do, it just suggests that BDS want to go fast.
There's really not a lot separating these two teams right now. Brede on the blitz, as he said, can go fast, but he can also provide perfect cover. JV losing his life to Solotov with a large aiding hand of Brede in his face. There wasn't too much that JV could do other than maybe just retreat and give up the position. Opening kill again for BDS. They've really dominated in that department, There's only been so far 2 opening kills for FURIA. The rest now favor of BDS. Angle from Shaiko, unsuccessful. But look at the damage onto Herds. Look at KZ's health. Already a wounded defense. FURIA down a player. One in towards washrooms. That is a wonderful flash onto the Azami. Completely caught off guard. The lead box does go down. An aiding hand of Solotov. The double play there for BDS. Perfect. They played off of Brede's blitz perfectly because he's never been by himself.
It's exactly what we saw out of Unwanted in their game earlier with Spirits and Gaveni working together. Thank God Solotov was there, because Brede looked like it was going wrong incredibly quickly, and I was really nervous for a second that he would lose out in that 1v1 despite having the blind coming on through. They've got numbers though, 5 versus 3 stacking up here to start thinking about this execute, and still so much time to play.
This is where someone like KZ needs to make his mark. 4-6 at the moment. He's been pretty much one of the best players at the tournament, coming into the finals, coming in this deep now. 60 seconds left. Yes, you're down 2 players. Yes, there's a lot of vert pressure, but there is still every world in which FURIA could bring this back, and it might just be up to someone like a KZ on the flank towards Dining. Users losing his life. Herd so low on health, just trying to hold on for dear life inside of sight. Snade over towards Small Bake. It is a very split defense for FURIA right now.
Have they read that there's a player in Small Bake here? If they realize that Nade is tucked in, because every player is moving over to that side of the map, they've abandoned White. They've abandoned being above B site itself. They're going straight towards Bakery, and Nade is the guy who's got to hold them off. And now they know that it's there. They've got to pick him off, though.
They do know of his position now in this area of the map. And again, well played. Solotov off of that shield of Brede has found himself almost 3 kills, I think, alone off of Brede's positioning on the blitz. A chance, and KZ wins the battle against Solotov. Does spot Brede deep into the site as well. One up close, and Shaiko on the Yana, and he gets the kill, takes down KZ, and a second attacking round found in a row for BDS. And Dez, they extend their lead.
Do you think I was nervous about their attacks, Jake? I've been doubting my boys a bit too much, I think. It's looking testy at this point, but let's listen into attack timeout.
Round, porque a gente tem 3 pessoas que podem estar jogando na Coca e ninguém passou pra lá e os caras só comeram claraboia. Agora a gente tem 2 caras lurkando, eles fazendo mais óbvio, rushando B1 e um não tá ajudando o outro, tá ligado? Então, tipo, vamos ter malícia que eles estão deixando o jogo mais caótico. Eles não estão querendo fazer as playzinhas bonitinhas deles. Eles estão jogando só pra querer fazer.
They know how we play, so we have to be more smarter than them. Okay, guys?
Remember what Julius said? They're going to change now.
Yeah, I want to add something. Okay, what can they do when they adapt when they get fucked by shield? It's clash, it's echo. So in this case, if it's clash, we just push from everywhere and fuck the clash. If it's echo, we just execute instantly and push them like they did against us.
Okay? Be careful about the spawn speed, guys.
Be careful as well, okay? Let's go. Careful Ronot, Chico.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sounds like they're expecting to see a clash coming out here in response to when the pressure's starting to build up from shields. What they expect to see from the other side is X, Y, and Z, and they're trying to fight their way back into it. BDS, though, anticipating that move from FURIA. I can't say I speak Portuguese, so I can't tell you what the hell FURIA were talking about, but it didn't sound too stressed, did it?
Dare I say, Des, there's been a large topical conversation around FURIA throughout 2024 during, guess what, the shield meta and their ability to potentially deal with it or play around it. What are they losing to right now in this half is shield play. Either the Montang or the Blitz. That's been the concern for me. Is that something that BDS can certainly look to try and exploit? You can hear them saying that. We're probably expecting that clash in response to help FURIA deal with the shield presence that we're seeing from Brede. Now, whether that happens or not, and it doesn't seem like it will, FURIA will have to deal with these shields.
Yeah, jump across to the Leisure and the Smoke, and of course, C4 coming along out of the mute. Doesn't really feel like enough. They want to try and slow BDS down with that mute Mozzie combo, one of my favorite combos that you see in the game. Really can restrict teams on bottlenecky maps, and this is probably one of those ones they're looking at and saying, if we can catch BDS off guard, if we can trip up in some way when they don't have information, that's where we'll come out on top. But BDS in response have got things like the Grim, they've got the Lion on side. It's actually Solotop who steps across to play on that Nomad. They're playing things super cautiously in this round, BDS, because they don't want to get caught off guard by FURIA in a post-tag timeout moment.
Despite the timeout that we just heard and saw, no shields whatsoever in this round.
That was anticipation that they would see a clash coming out on the other side and thought, right, can't really be a clash with a shield, we need to find something else to do, and this is what they're going for.
So a 2-round lead for BDS, first time they've been able to establish a lead of that significance so far in this map. And well, one of the biggest turning factors has been the opening kills, certainly going the way of BDS. Only 2 found thus far for FURIA, and why not? There's another one, Shaiko.
Shaiko owns KZ. There is nothing else I can say. Every kill he's getting this game feels like it's KZ's name in the kill feed. I'm going to go back and look at the numbers in a minute, but my God, is he dominating in this map.
There's one up close to Philippox. That would be, I believe, Solotov inside of washrooms. Case on the floor at the moment. Another one up close. It's the peak from Users, and he wins the battle over Philippox, who tried as hard as he could to defend that area, and Hertz is going to fall as well. I mean, dare I say, BDS have flipped the script perfectly after a fast start from FURIA. BDS have responded here on Cafe, and they will take map point.
Wow. Not the outcome that I was expecting with how things are starting to build and bubble up here. Shaiko on KZ, by the way. I believe it's 6 times so far throughout this matchup that he's found his man. Really is turning into his nemesis because he cannot find a way through him.
5 times, I think is the opening kills. Shaiko onto KZ.
He has bullied him. Absolutely bullied him this map. And again, as the #1 player in the tournament, we spoke about before the series and said Shaiko hasn't been putting up big numbers so far. That's okay. It's a team effort. Like, Hertz can be quiet. Not a problem when KZ and JV92 are doing the work. But now you're seeing KZ kept quiet. They're starting to struggle.
Yeah, Shaiko -8 on entry, so 18 for 26.
He's doing some serious work on that this map.
Coming to the upper bracket final, and he's just completely flipped that around. For Shaiko now, +2 on the entry, which is a big turnaround from a -8 throughout the tournament so far. 3 map point situations as well for BDS to navigate, so they could give up a couple here as long as they just get one more. Overtime at the very least now secured too, so they're absolutely in the driver's seat here to take out this opening map, which of course is FURIA's map pick.
This is one of those moments, and I've seen this quite a lot throughout the tournament, where a Maestro is brought along by a team. The attackers very likely know about it and do nothing to try and counter it. They don't bring along the Brava that we're so used to seeing in that situation. And we know players like Shaiko can play Brava, so I'm just really surprised that we don't see it being a thing. Yeah, there are things like Flores on side. They can help deal with it as well. All well and good, but stealing that information away from the other side causes such headaches on the site itself. I would have really liked to see BDS lead into that. Truthfully, I didn't see Jerome Prep if it was hidden away, in which case, fair enough. But it's been a lot of times this tournament. I've seen a Maestro, and there's been no direct counter on the other side.
So what can FURIA provide for us in terms of a response?
More kills, Jake.
Yeah, more kills would be good. I mean, they're getting absolutely slaughtered in the early portion of these games. We were looking at the stats beforehand, Des, and this is actually the strong point of FURIA throughout the tournament. Opening kills has been the best so far at the tournament out of all of the teams, and they are getting absolutely shredded in that department. So BDS are kind of beating FURIA at their own game right now and on their own map, and that's what's most concerning if you're a FURIA fan. Why not add one more? Salt into the wound. A pretty large wound right now for FURIA. And BDS now feels as if maybe they are moments away from taking the opening map here of this upper bracket final. Compounded now with that kill on to JV92. Only 3 men left standing for FURIA. Nade, KZ, and Philippox must do something very special to keep this map alive.
Crazy thing is, KZ there, Hertz, I'm not quite sure why he's walking up wide by himself. I flipped my eyes over to our top-down view, and there's 4 players from BDS surrounding that location. Not quite sure what he was going for, because either, at the best case, he gets a kill and is immediately traded out and takes the C4 away from his team. Just felt like a bit of a crazy move there. I know that's the kind of role that Hertz plays. He is the crazy guy in this team that can net a 2K or a 3K and wrap around up by himself. but BDS are not going to give you that room to breathe. We've got 60 seconds to play. Nade is now the one in the spot of bother. I don't think they know that it's here. Now they most definitely do. He's in trouble. Shoko hitting the deck though and cleaned out by Felipox.
Liquefact making his way towards Red Stairs. He could push in and get the flank. There it is. Kill onto KZ over towards Small Bake, but there's a castle barricade that is protecting Nade at the moment. It is just stopping Liquefact. But a big kill from Solotov onto Felipox leaves Nade in a 1 versus 3. Guard break, gets the kill onto Liquefact, goes for it again. But every Solotov as BDS will take the opening map of this upper bracket final, stealing the map pick of FURIA. What a way to start as BDS are now 1 map away from the Six Invitational Grand Final. How close they are, Des.
How many Grand Finals can they walk into and not walk away the winner is the big question. Of course, time will tell. What a performance from BDS, though. Their attacks were absolutely phenomenal.
There certainly were 5 rounds to close out, despite the fact that FURIA got themselves into a very significant lead. BDS stormed home to take Cafe. What a way to kickstart the upper bracket final. More to come after this.
Ouais, choc-les, choc-les, ouais, choc-les, choc-les, choc-les. Ouais, voilà ce qu'ils me disent, je les entends parler et ils m'étrisent. J'arrête que pour rappeler la mise, petit pas sur la piste. Et le succès, je l'ai pisté. Disque la place du premier, je fais monter la côté. Sur moi, tu mises gros, tu connais déjà l'équipe. Ça criera au complot, je prends le double, on est quitte et je fais la magie des chiffres. La somme je la triple, la concurrence la dribble et le stade est en délire. Ça fait choquer, j'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule elle est choquée, j'espère que t'es accroché. Gauche, droite, esquive rageux. Coach m'a rajouté du temps de jeu. Dans l'action, ouais je me sens en feu. Je suis on fire, je fais la différence au compteur. Money time, ça shoot sur le buzzer. Je suis on fire, choqué. J'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule elle est choquée, j'espère que t'es accroché. Choqué, j'arrive pour tous les choquer. Toute la foule elle est choquée, j'espère que t'es accroché.
Welcome back, everybody. BDS taking map number 1 against FURIA, the reigning world champions. Knocked down a peg, at least, on that very first map. Cafe Dostoyevsky, first half looked like BDS had a lot of work to do. They tied it and then ran away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought for myself, okay, FURIA, once they lost that first round, then they started to bring it back. It started to look really good for them, but then it just became a game of tempo. It became a game versus checkers versus chess, and that is exactly where BDS excelled, was in that game of chess, of understanding the pieces and where they needed to place them, where on the other end, it was just nothing but aggression being met by a wall.
We'll come on to this after the highlights are over, but the success factor for FURIA was the spontaneity of how they could play, I would say a little bit weirdly, where BDS didn't know what was coming. When FURIA settled into the mundane, into the grind, when they were trying to attack default, BDS was absolutely battering them in every single round, both the basement sites and then the very final round of the half. And then, when BDS were able to take the advantage, they were able to set the pace, they were able to force a default execute, again, they were winning that battle. It was every single time where they were playing default siege, BDS were absolutely on top. And I mean, the levels that we saw from BDS absolutely, and Leakyfact especially, absolutely crashing out in group phase on this map, to getting all the way to now, is night and day improvement.
Well, even in that last round, you would see the Monty rotate all the way from white, going to front bakery just to put pressure on those two, where they had the backside, but they wanted to, again, moving those pieces of the puzzle for the proper execute, and then they end that round flawlessly with a 3v1 pinch into that guy in bakery.
It's beautiful to witness. Of course, the way that BDS ran train, especially in that second half, as you guys have mentioned, during the tactical timeout that was taken, we heard Leakyfact and the entire squad that were really just getting at it. There was no kind of issues that were happening between them like we saw in group stage. It was more of a, we have a problem, let's solve it, we're all in this together, and all the energy is high.
Well, you're definitely not going to have an issue when your team is performing as well they are. Every single opening engagement went in the favor of BDS. So, of course, there's not a lot of nitpicking that you have to do while you're doing everything successful on your end. You're getting that first pick. You're having that man advantage, and then you're just playing that trade game and playing the fundamentals of Siege, which is getting you to the next round.
And I think what sets Leakyfact out in those calls that we hear between the rounds, sometimes in the timeouts, is his adaptation. You know, you saw it instantly. They know we're running shields. They're probably going to play Clash Echo. Okay, if they do play Clash Echo, let's do List. Let's change it up. Let's stay unpredictable whilst maintaining a structure. And it worked dividends for them. They were so good on the attack of Cafe, and that's put a massive advantage in this best of 3.
Well, Jack, I'm told there's a package you'd like to show us.
Yeah, there is. So this is actually the success that FURIA had. And this, I think, as we move through the best of 3, is the best way that they're going to find success against BDS. Look at all, so this is the 3 rounds they won and the entry kills in every single one of them. First one is Philippox. Quick drone spot, pushing in. It's not quite an entry kill because Shaiko got the first one, but he walks in, he gets the first kill, and he really opens up the round. And again, Leakyfact was not expecting it. This round was excellent. There was Yings going off up on top white. Philippox just walks up white stairs. Entry kill, walking up white stairs uncontested, absolutely unheard of. And then the very third round that they won, a Gara hook kill going in through the cocktail window there, picking up 2. Now, this is the only way, Lax, that FURIA found success. I said it was getting a little bit freaky with it, and that's the only way. When BDS didn't know what was coming, that's where FURIA found success. When BDS knew what was coming, BDS punished that.
It's relied on those individual plays, and you can't always rely on individual plays, especially against a team like BDS that they're going to understand. They're going to slow down their pace and say, okay, let's just play together. Let's play the trade game. And that's exactly what they would do. And then that would immediately shut out FURIA from finding those freaky kills, from getting those entries, and just not walking away with a round.
Reinventing the wheel on the spot is a commendable effort for FURIA, but BDS on the other side are holding down the fort. They take map number 1 in this series. Thanks so much, gentlemen. We will take a quick break. When we get back, it's time for map number 2.
Back it up. Back it up. Let me take it back to the realness. Feel this. Let me take it back to the realness. Feel this. Let me take it back to the realness. Feel this. Back it up. Back it up. Let me take it back to the realness. Feel this. Let me take it back to the realness. Feel this. Let me take it back to the realness. Feel this. Back to the back to the back to the back to the back. Take it back. Take it back. Back it up. 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 Take it back. Take it back. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. to the realness, feel this. Back to the back to the back to the back to the back.
And we are back. BDS versus FURIA continues on map number 2. Cafe was that big play. We talked about FURIA trying to reinvent the wheel, to play it kooky, and it was not enough. Getting demolished on that second half. What happens on Bank Jack?
Well, Milosh, I don't know how to say this any other way, but BDS have never lost Bank with this roster. In fact, as an organization, you have to go back to summer 2023 to talk about when they actually last lost it. It's crazy. They love the map, and it was a huge risk. It was an absolutely huge risk from FURIA to allow this through the map veto. I would call it an ego challenge, Lex. They've now lost their own map pick, and they've got to do the impossible to even stay inside of this best of 3.
Again, I think the biggest thing is that they, you know, if you're, like I said, you're going to reveal a card, a secret card, you're going to do it here. But the thing is, I think they were hoping that Cafe was going to go in their favor. Yeah. That would allow them to breathe a little bit. Now they can't breathe. They have to be perfect with their rhythm of every breath that they take, because if you falter here, your run's done. I mean, well, you're not run's done, but you're going to be one less shot away from getting to that grand final stage. And again, what we saw in Cafe was being met with just basic defaults of Siege, that they just couldn't find that fundamental, they couldn't find that pacing, they couldn't understand the general direction of how they wanted to approach BDS.
Look, FURIA are no slouches in this, so of course we expect them to have some adaptation, but from your minds of expertise, the two of you, what is that adaptation that they need to formulate?
I honestly think they will have looked at the SSG game against BDS on Bank, because SSG played a very, very good Bank that day and actually showed up a couple of flaws, and actually maybe on another day would have taken that map against BDS. I'm saying BDS have never lost it, but they're not impenetrable on it. FURIA have definitely seen something, because you don't allow that through the veto, because you know if you do 100% BDS will pick it.
I think what they need to focus on is actually playing together, not hero plays, because what you highlighted is it came down to hero plays. One person getting 2 picks where they really realistically shouldn't have, and then BDS slowed down and then waited for that to happen and shut it down.
And that's inconsistent, right? When you're relying on the hero plays, you can't consistently rely on them whatsoever. The team that's got the more solid foundation will always come out on top, and that's what BDS showed us in map 1.
This is For All the Marbles. Reminder, the winner of this matchup makes it to the grand final, gets to skip tomorrow. Sit back, relax, watch the games, get the scrims, get the preparation that is needed for that final on Sunday. That is invaluable for you as a team, and of course guaranteeing $450,000 minimum at the end of the Invitational 2025. This pressure can get to a lot of teams. It definitely did get to SSG potentially here on the stage. FURIA have seen it before. Brazil was something else. What's the survival state?
I think they're still there. I think they're still a team. You can't count them out, because if you look at their run at last SI, they were down in the dumps. They could have lost that entire event, and they immediately bounced back. So I don't expect them to falter here. I expect to see some life coming out of them, but again, they don't have that lifeline that they were hoping to grab from that first map.
So Bank, known for a lot of shield play, but also a lot of flanks late in the round. There's a lot of drops that can go down on that basement. We've seen plays on the top floor and open area, Jack.
I do think fundamentally Bank isn't a bad map for FURIA. You know, we saw how they want to be creative inside of Cafe. Bank offers that. It's got 4 sites that are all defendable. They all get picked. We've seen it across this tournament, and there's different ways of attacking it and different ways of defending it. There's lots of opportunity to be creative for FURIA, and that's where their key strength will lie inside of this map.
Well, their creativity has to shine because it's all on the line. Of course, whoever loses will be dropping down to the low bracket, so it won't be done just yet. However, map number 2, BDS versus FURIA. Thanks so much, gents. Let's send it up to our casters. It's Des, it's Xenox. Take it away.
So BDS find themselves 1 map away from the Six Invitational Grand Final, and on a map, Des, that we haven't seen this iteration lose on, which is what Fresh was, of course, talking about on the analyst desk. That is a daunting task, of course, if you are FURIA. FURIA themselves are quite good on Bank, but they're not undefeated on it.
I'm just happy that you, as a FURIA shiller, are feeling pretty hard done by right now.
Well,
that Cafe was bruising.
I feel as if maybe that map veto hasn't quite gone FURIA's way. We'll have to see. Right now, BDS definitely the favorite of the two here on Bank. They are 1 step away from the Six Invitational Grand Final. Can BDS take out Bank and book their place for Sunday?
We asked the impossible of FURIA, but if any team can do it, it's them. To bring down BDS on a map they haven't lost since the summer of 23. Almost 2 years have passed since they've lost here, even against teams that would regard themselves as greats on this map. It's a big wall in front of FURIA, but if anyone can scale it and climb over, surely it has to be the Brazilians. They started things out with an expected ban, Deimos being taken away. Shaiko, he's never allowed to play this operation. So I'm sorry, guys, it's not fair. We keep him off that one. Ying comes out from BDS, not at all surprised, because we did see FURIA playing that quite a bit back on Cafe, and they know it's in the locker. Just get it out of here and don't have to play Warden anywhere near as much.
I was anticipating as well maybe the option of a potential shield ban out of FURIA, because that was a catalyst back on Cafe, the Blitz play, the Montang play from Brede. But they've opted, of course, to keep with Deimos, and it will be Valkyrie as the final ban as well.
No surprises at all. Like, the thing is, as strong as shields are, you can ban one away, there's still others that teams can play behind. You can't remove them all from the field.
Only 1 Deimos.
Things like Deimos, there is only 1 Deimos. It sounds like a real bad football chant, but it's very, very true. There is only 1 Deimos that you can play, and Shaiko is the guy who absolutely loves to play it. Lethal with it, and on a map like this where there is I'd say a fair whack of soft destruction, especially up on the second floor going down to the first floor. Well, that's what you're keeping your eyes on, trying to make sure that's at least removed away. Of course, a big map, so Deimos tracking people down is never going to be a good time, but that's where you'll see now, I imagine, BDS leaning in towards things like that Dockerby once again. Starting off on the defense, because it is BDS's map pick, is FURIA. FURIA chose to start on the defense. We're going to kick things off in the basement. And already we're seeing things like the Chanka and the Smoke coming along together. I'm seeing a Warden. I'm seeing a Tuber out. I'm seeing, Jake, a lot of stall coming out in this round. So BDS are going to have to be the ones to crack open this fortress down below. See if they can get things off to a good start here. FURIA are the ones who started off hot on Cafe, but could not keep up steam.
That's true.
And we all saw what happened from there.
There's also an interesting dynamic when it comes to these two teams on Bank. For BDS, it's their best map in terms of defense. But despite, of course, the undefeated status on this map, their attacking win percentage is actually not that high. But inverse, FURIA's defense on this map is statistically very, very low, but their attacking win rate is incredibly high. So this is going to be a contrast to playstyles when it comes to Bank.
It's funny you say this as well. I look back to when I first watched this roster play, back when they were under the W7M banner. And the first time I saw them play was actually on Bank. And I remember thinking, watching them play, it's like you're against 7 or 8 players on the enemy team. It was horrible to deal with the pressure they were building up around all these Brazilian teams that they were battering, no names in the scene. They made it look easy. And so although I'm not quite going to say that they should have that form from back in the day, they've played this map a bunch since then, they certainly aren't undefeated on it like BDS are under this current roster. But they know how to tango on this map, and I don't doubt for a second they will keep things pretty competitive.
Brita immediately on the Montaigne. No one is surprised by that in the attacking half for BDS. He was very instrumental back on Cafe with both the Montaigne and the Blitz. Slicky Fack already in towards Vault for a rather early lurk in a deep position, and certainly the kind of position that could catch someone off guard from FURIA. You can just sit here and wait.
I mean, his team needs to be around him, otherwise he's getting a kill and probably getting traded, but when everyone's getting sucked into things elsewhere around the map, he's going to be able to start picking up kills here. Solotov's already been finished off, but now he's made himself known. They're probably thinking, how in the hell has he managed to get here? Because now that he's split out the red corridor, they can't play inside of this to deny a plan going on down. They need to remove him. There's one coming in behind him, I'm pretty sure, at the same time, so he's got to be careful. But look who's behind him. Yuzus has dropped in for the party as well. They're drawing out smokes here. This round just feels all back to front, Jake.
He's got a bit more help as well with Yuzus in towards Vault. Nicely done from Licky Fack. Big kill from KZ. Does keep the round still alive for FURIA, but so much time for BDS to navigate the situation that they find themselves in. Double stack Vault with Brita coming in from server on the Montaigne. No more gas canisters remaining either for KZ. He's going to have to keep the SMG-11 up. He's got the Quan Hive launcher bees in his vicinity, and he loses his life because of it. Herds by himself, the plant will go down, and arguably, I think this round may be lost, Des.
I mean, you're against the shield. There is very little chance that you manage to recover this one as the winner. Going to try and run across fire, the hot coals sticking to his feet. And Yuzus deletes him from the server. Great first round, but I won't lie. How on earth did we find Leakerback in that spot so soon? Like, you think, surely FURIA would be aware of that, but finding these opportunities in a round to see a gap in the enemy defense and exploit them is what makes a team strong. There's no point in having a set-piece attack that you've executed a million times over that can't adapt to weaknesses. It's about finding gaps and exploiting it, and that's exactly what they've done. A great first attack out of BDS.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably more poor on the side of FURIA than it is probably from Licky Fack. He's just basically punished them. He's found a gap in the defense, got himself into a really good early position, and from there changes the entire complexion of the round. FURIA don't get to do what they want to do because they're basically going to mole inside of the base. And Licky Fack's positioning early on has done a tremendous job, of course, in finding that early position. 1-0 BDS, second map of this upper bracket final. And an early attacking round again. BDS are very good on this defensively.
They're trying to hide this clash away, it looks like, as well. Just tucked in the corner here. Not too many good places to hide it. As long as they can keep drones away, and that's what Philippox is scouting out for super aggressively around the stock side. You've got Herds going out towards lobby. They want to make sure they don't see this clash, and now they haven't seen it. I guess the slight challenge is that by the looks of it, BDS have got an inkling about what might be going on. There's Zofia coming on side. They've dropped away the Monty. So whether or not they've just kind of read into this and thought, oh, well, think about what we spoke about on the last map. When they start feeling pressured by shields, they'll default towards a clash. Saw a little bit of that in that last round. They wanted to find an answer. They've gone towards the clash, but BDS have already moved on to the next level. They've already got FURIA all figured out, and that's what feels like a really weird thing to say because we're so used to seeing FURIA be the team that just feel like they know the insides of the brains of the entire enemy team.
And the more that FURIA find themselves on the back foot, already down a map as well, it's going to be making it a lot harder for them to find themselves back into this upper bracket final. They cannot give up too many rounds early on, especially on the defense here of Bank. Nade onto the Clash, as mentioned. We'll see if that can maybe slow down BDS. So far, just a bit of roof play out in the exterior. No map control for BDS this round to begin with. And I think for FURIA, it's fine to just bunker down a little bit, hold these key positions. Bank, especially when it comes to CEO, is going to be probably played in this manner 90% of the time. One janitor, stock hallway, over towards Kanto, over towards elevator, try and keep front desk under control, and try and get a few picks. It's up to BDS to break that down, and what a start. They deal with the Azami. No more keeper barriers throughout this round. Front desk opened up. Good start again for BDS.
Yeah, taking off Banana there. JV, I think, just overexposing himself to a peak. It makes it far too easy for BDS to rip him away from the round. I think there's nothing too crazy in the round looking at it. Like, look at the positions coming out from FURIA. They're pretty dug into standard spots. Things like Janitor, Banana, as I mentioned. 2 players hanging around long desk. At this point, BDS are like, cool, there's nothing really to upset us here. We've just got to be really respectful of the Clash and the impact that can have when we try and step in towards site. But they've got 2 players on windows. Users out the far rappel. 2 players starting to bunch up on square. They're circling like sharks at this point, Jake. And I'm just convinced that BDS, with 70 seconds to play, have got everything they need to get this one over the line.
And BDS certainly the team with the momentum at the moment in this upper bracket final. FURIA need to find that switch. They lose KZ. Smoke dealt with. No gas canisters remaining. And you're kind of left with this Clash now that has not been able to have any kind of influence towards Janitor. Gap in the smoke for Nade, but so far not really giving him a whole lot. Philippok's backfilling over towards front desk. He goes down as well. User's still outside of the rappel. He's got 5 kills inside of the opening 2 rounds. Nothing is landing for FURIA whatsoever. It's all one-way traffic from BDS. 2-0 start on the second map in this upper bracket final. BDS arguably making their biggest statement, but that hammer, that's what they really want, and this is just a step in the way, and they're not too far away.
I can only imagine the number of European Pro Siege players right now that are on social media saying, and this is why you don't let BDS go to bank. I'm sure enough people have been traumatized by them in scrims before. They're lucky if you may be able to claim they've had a victory over them here and there, but they just look on it. It feels like FURIA could barely step a foot out of place without being tagged down by someone who had an angle across the map, was very aware of what was going on. The Clash was basically non-existent in the round, couldn't do anything. And when you've got that shield on side, you should be able to command some kind of information, some intel to slow things down. But no, FURIA are struggling right now. Back down to the basement we go, and they sorely need to find an answer.
There is one caveat to all of this, Des, though, of course. In the modern era of Siege, in terms of Six Invitational, ever since the map advantage got scrapped from winning the upper bracket final, no team has gone on to win the grand final that won the upper bracket final. So it's a curse that BDS might need to break if they do make it there.
It's like a counter curse. They've been cursed for so long that they make it to enough finals and never actually quite managed to win. So it feels like them saying, we've got a stronger curse here, boys. I think we can't trump that one. We can ignore it.
What can FURIA do to get back into this? It feels as if a lot of the energy has been sapped out of this roster.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The main thing they can do, I think, is pick up the pace a little bit. Where they found victory in the early rounds of Cafe was on changing up pace, slow, fast. I know it was on like defense versus attack. It's a different conversation here, but they aren't giving much challenge towards BDS. And look, don't get me wrong, BDS are a really hard team to challenge. I spoke about their love for Dokkaebi. Your Simbride playing an awful lot of shields here. They are very happy playing these same pool of 5 to 8 operators time and time again if they have to, and bullying you with them. So knowing what they're going to play, as I mentioned earlier on, is one thing. Actually being able to respond to it is another. You can say, cool, we know what they're going to do, we know what's coming. That doesn't mean you can stop a diesel train from coming at you when you can see it from a few miles away. And that's what it feels like trying to stop this team right now.
And don't forget, again, the dominance on Cafe from BDS in terms of the early portion of that map. In those rounds, only 2 opening kills went the way of FURIA on that map. So far, 1 for 1 to begin here on Bank. Slow and steady right now for BDS, but they've really always felt in control so far to begin on their attacking rounds of Bank. Again, FURIA, can they offer that counterpunch? Can they find a way to get involved at kind of this point in the round? Find a pick, go for a flank, get some stairs control.
I was going to say Herds being on the Oryx is the one I'd look at, but they haven't left any hatches soft, so it's not like they can make each of it themselves. More they're expecting BDS to open all the hatches, then abandon one of them and put their focus elsewhere on the map so we can try and capitalize. Otherwise, I don't really understand the reason why you try and make use of this. And yet, they've got the one squeezed in at the bottom of blue stairs here. KZ in a spot of bother. He's on the warden, so can deal with things like flashes and smokes coming his way. But with the shield in front of your face, it's not going to be easy to clear them away. Here we go on the step forward. A bounce back from the C4 as well. He's going to pick back up. Yes, he did. And now back over the top. He'll find his man. He'll try his best. But Brito loses half his HP. And now the Vonti can just walk at him here unless his feet get picked out first.
Gotta make a decision. Do you
Oh,
go
he's
to the
in,
swing
he's
from
in,
top
he's in.
blue? He's behind him. Oh! Big shot from KZ onto Solotov, who just snuck in behind the Montang. That might allow him to escape this blue stairs position, but I think he wants to challenge the Monty.
Yeah, get his feet, because at this point you can chip away at Breeder if he's not careful. Look, keeps on trying another shot onto his feet. He's super low. They have to punish him now. The thing is, it's a ward and he can ignore the flashes entirely. BDS are really stuck here, Jake.
Has he got some help, though, towards the side? Here comes the Monty. Gets the push, gets the kill, and maybe now access towards the side. 30 seconds as Brede opening up a way in. There's still 3 gas babes, though, for Nade to stop any kind of default plant attempt right now from BDS.
What a smoke as well, just hitting Breeder that little bit more. He's like paper right now. Tip a bit of water on him, he'll fall apart. They've got to go deep and try and make this plant happen, but he can't run through the smoke, Jake.
No, he certainly can't, and it's only 7 seconds left. They're running out of time. Just has to find a way to get in position, but Brede goes down with that kit on the floor. Someone else needs to pick it up. They start to scramble, but they cannot scramble to any kind of victory in the round as FURIA are on the board on Bank.
Finally, they get there. It feels like BDS really made a meal out of clearing blue there.
KZ did a tremendous job.
He did a wonderful job of playing it. He was constantly chipping away at Brede's health as well, not making it easy for them in the slightest. But BDS managed to sneak a player into top blue behind the Monty that the Warden didn't see, and I thought, okay, surely he gets a freebie. Hits that wonderful shot, holds off for another 45 seconds, and BDS just run completely out of time. This is the kill I was on about. Solotov really should have had his man's number there as well, especially when you've got a Grim on side, but they paid the price. Look, 30 seconds is where we get down to by the time they've cleared it out. Not a single smoke has been used. Really, really well played by the Warden. It does get FURIA on the board. Got to see a little bit more than that, though, if we want to see FURIA crawling their way back into this game.
Can also be considered one of the better sides if teams do play it rather defaulted. You can defend against it really, really well. KZ a big factor as to why, of course, they won that round, but FURIA on the board. We've spoken at length, of course, the analyst desk mentioning this undefeated record of BDS on this map. Well, these are the tournaments and these are the moments and the kind of games in which records get broken. They are made to be broken. 1 on the board for FURIA, and again, don't forget it, like in terms of this half, these 2 teams are playing on the sides they are least preferred on when it comes to this map. When we flip second half, they will both be playing their more strengths, if that makes a little bit of sense. BDS on defense, much better, and FURIA on attack, much better when it comes to Bank.
Jake, I've got a question for you.
Go.
What's worse than 1 shield?
3.
Yeah, sure. 2 in this case is plenty fine for BDS, though. You got Brede going on to that.
Should have put in the clash.
Leakafat going on to the Monty. Just to kind of fuse, why not? Go hell for leather if you're BDS in that case. But no, doubling down on this, I think, is really because they're probably ready to this now and said, well, they're not really responding to shield play. We've seen them play Clash once, we didn't play shields in the round, they'll step away from it. They'll keep playing this merry dance all day long, and if FURIA aren't responding to it, they'll just keep picking up kills for free here. They've already found KZ, he cannot get into this game. Best player of the tournament? Certainly not in this game.
I mean, we give the plaudits, of course, to the shield players, but you think back to Cafe, it was Solotov who was playing off of those shields perfectly. He does so again, while both have gone down. Nade and Philippox find a way to eliminate the shields from this round, and give FURIA an ever so slight advantage. Can't pick up the shield. Of course, it's gone for the case. Just being a bit cheeky.
He's gone for the rappel over and just died. Yeah, that was a bit of an interesting one, and I'm pretty sure Leakafat had no idea there was a player in elevators who's been shot in the back for free. I mean, fair play. Marching up towards Banana is a pretty typical place. You can get yourself rounded towards the rooms then as well to start clearing out from the top down. But unless you're guaranteed the elevator is clear, you're going to pay the price. And that's a great start for FURIA. With the 2 kills onto the shield players, it now leaves everything up to Yuzu, Shaiko, and Solotov. And to be fair, I wouldn't count them out if I were you. Sure enough. Shaiko's in with 1. It's now a 3v3.
Adrenal Surge activated, kit acquired, drop down successful, and the plant coming immediately by Shaiko. Good stop from Nade. That Shaiko off the plant as well, mind you. Still 60 seconds, so certainly no desperate time to try and stick that onto the floor. Could spray through the wall from Solotov, but he loses the battle. JV able to win out, and suddenly Shaiko finds himself in a 1 versus 3. Lots of time, but hello, drop from above. FURIA, 2 rounds in a row on the defense side of Bank. Yeah, and there certainly are vulnerabilities here to BDS. By no means is this going to be an easy map for them.
Don't blame BDS at all for trying to rush in, then realizing there were 2 or 3 players trying to retake that top floor from them. But immediately dropping in, we saw at the end of the round that bulletproof camera on the wall saw absolutely everything. So it didn't really matter. Hello, big wave. They saw absolutely everything. They could stop it with the shots coming in through soft walls off the back of the pings that were coming in from teammates. Really good stuff overall. Again, FURIA just kind of setting up a trap there for BDS. They were all too happy to step into. There was that first kill as well, KZ being a little bit cheeky, and this is the challenge, right? We're saying, you know, let's be more aggressive, let's switch up the pace here, let's challenge BDS. There's a piece around trying to step out of a window when there's 3 players on that side of the map that you're going to pay the price for, and there's a difference between being maybe aggressive as a pairing in the mid-round when they're trying to get themselves set up for an execute, or aggressively retaking the hatch they've lost away. That's what worked for FURIA in the last round, but KZ being hyper-aggressive early on did not help them. Same story when Herds has done so. He's also struggling to get himself involved in this map. Here we go to that top floor now, FURIA defending up here. Castle on side to lock things up nice and tight. And I got to give it to KZ playing quite a lot of Jaeger. There's Joystick, who's played about 25% of total Jaeger picks at the competition so far. KZ, I think, is trying to rival those numbers in this series.
He's only got the 3 kills, but 2 of those have been entry kills. So
on Psycho, hopefully?
He's the one. Well, I mean, actually, no. Both have actually been on Soltol.
Oh, there you go.
So not quite getting his revenge, but hey, 2-2. 2 defensive rounds for FURIA. All tied up here on bank going into the final 2 rounds of the opening half. And the good news for FURIA as well, from my mind, is they were able to deal with that double shield setup, because that's what really got the most of them on Cafe. So immediately BDS go, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's go back to something a little bit more different. Something where we can maybe be a bit more aggressive on the attack of bank, which is really what you want, rather than that slow down passive style. It's kind of been 2 rounds in a row. They've been stalled out a little bit. So better from FURIA, but certainly more room for improvement for BDS.
They're really fearful, I think, of like flash spam. They've played to play the Wamai and the Jaeger a few times throughout this series already. Just super conscious of all the throwing utility that can come flying in from the side of BDS. And don't want everything to get dropped on the head, for example, and the concussions come in, while Scrimbies are flying in, while flashes are coming out. If they can take some of that away, they probably feel they can win against BDS in straight-up gunfights, though. So far, BDS is certainly showing that, no, it ain't quite so simple.
Don't forget as well, last time we were here on CEO, it was the repels that got a lot of the kills for BDS. So FURIA have to be more mindful of that this time in their positioning, the way that they hold around this map. They lost like 2 or 3 players last time just to repel.
Is he going out?
The Leapox, you got to be very careful. You are the
Azami.
3
players on these windows. It is so risky to try and make this play.
Gets a good reposition at the very least out of it. He's not really thinking about this, is he? Drone, and he goes for it, and he will find the kill in second! Double from Leapox, loses his life to the Claymore, but job done, Des.
Got rid of the concussions, got rid of the Grimbies. That's a lot of the damage that you wanted done in this round. Done. Great play from him. It looked like a massive risk, but as soon as you see that drone, you know it's now or never. Throws himself out, 2 quick kills. Great play from him. I was really nervous because for a while, Solotov wasn't even looking inside windows. He was actually watching across the length of the jump outs in case there was that kind of play coming through. But as soon as he heard the Zofia LMG going off, that was his trigger, along with the drone in the window, to jump out and make it happen. But we've already seen BDS start a little bit of magic in the 3v3. Last round did get shut down in the end. It's now 2v3, and it's Shaiko and Uses to pull it back.
Speaking of magic, well, who's more magical than Shaiko and what he can do in these rounds at any moment? KZ.
They've seen
one of the top players at the tournament. JV not ready for the push-up. Big kill Uses. And suddenly becomes very winnable for BDS. Look at the health margins of KZ and Herds. Big battle. And the high ground will prevail for Shaiko. Takes out KZ. Must-win fight coming up now for Herds. And certainly still winnable. Gas canister throws it out. 13 seconds. The time was on his side, but BDS had him outgunned. Huge round win for BDS.
Enormous. There was a drone sat in lobby that saw those 2 players starting their march forward. The first one coming in through double door, and at that point, Uses was on high alert, heard the second one coming. And the problem there for FURIA is they forced out 1v1s again and again and again, whereas Uses and Shaiko, as soon as it became 2 players left alive, were grouped together. They were ready to take the challenge as a unit. FURIA did not play as a team. They've paid the price. BDS are up to 3 attacks. We go back down into the basement. I do not expect that we're going to see Leaky back somehow getting in behind the whole team again through the lobby hatch. They reinforced it off last time round and simply didn't let that be a thing. But we are going back to the comp that we saw from FURIA back in round 1. With the smoke, with the Chanka, with the tuber out. It's all about slowing BDS down. And I hope to God this time round, they bring a response to Herds or the Warden that was playing inside of blue last time around. Because they lost a good minute or so trying to clear that out.
And well, it's been better as well from FURIA in terms of getting some opening kills. This is something that they could not do at all on Cafe. They're not converting them. So far, they've had 3. 2 of them haven't been converted into round wins. So that in itself is highlight that BDS, even if they're down a couple of players, still have the capabilities to bring some of these rounds back, as evident by that previous one. Uses 7-2, just quietly having a very standout performance on bank. Of course, others certainly helping out, leading the way. Hertz 0-4, JV 1-3. Two very classy players that have been kept very quiet for FURIA. And here comes Brede on the blitz. We know how annoying he has been for BDS so far on that.
They've forced away. They can't even use the staff room drop. They've had to go down main stairs here to get back on towards site because BDS were in here so quick. We're 30 seconds in the round and they're already bearing down on main stairs. They're really trying to move at pace here, Jake.
Solotov wants to creep in towards Garage, but it has been contested. That's going to make it a little bit more tricky. JV says he's going to lock this one down, not allow them to get good position over towards the ramp, looking in towards site. A good drone intel though. Solotov playing this very well and now wants to get aggressive, but he cannot win. The keeper barrier, a big aiding hand for the Azami, and JV finds the opening kill for FURIA. Shuts down any of that lurk towards Garage, which is a big win for the defense on this site.
That was a real 50-50 he was taking there as well. It was a good play to step in through the smoke, expecting that you'd see JV tucked away. No doubt one of his teammates was sat on that shock drone calling out what was happening, but just couldn't hit his shots when it mattered most. Uses here inside a lobby. We've already seen this backdrop come in before. He was on the Capitao last time round. Joined Leakefat down this drop to tear apart that backline of FURIA. But here he is with Grim Beast in hand, looking to make something happen.
Still 90 seconds left in the round. Final round of this half.
Wow, okay. And a three-man drop in lobby.
It's going to be I think a vault drop here is the right way to go. But Nate is caught on with the Tachanka. They kind of just turn their attention. The beauty of this lineup is whether you go a server-side default push or you go for this vault drop, provided the defense is ready for it, you can switch up with the same idea. That stall-out tactic can still work over towards vault.
I like the use of the Tachanka here as well. We see so many teams try and use it for the default plant spot, and teams just run over it because that fire zone is so small.
This is
but when you're dropping into fire through that lobby hatch and then having to charge out of it immediately,
is he going to be ready for this? I mean, JV at some point is going to hear Brede on the blitz, you would imagine.
I mean, there's a shot drone that saw him earlier. I don't think they saw him back away to here. Now they know because he's taking a few shots, right? KZ getting up, Leaker back as well. This is looking good. Now he knows that the shield's onto him, mind you. Got to go somewhere. He's got to flash him out and try and win this fight, but no! JV gives him absolutely nothing. Elsewhere, they're still bringing kills down around the map, though, Jake. But it's a three-man stack up here for FURIA, a 3v1. This one is theirs for the taking. FURIA take round 6, and we get a 3-3 split.
The second map in a row as well, Des. 3-3 at the half between these two teams, which I'm really not surprised by, to be completely honest. And I think we could even get maybe an OT here with the way these two teams are pretty evenly matched on both sides. Now, of course, we go FURIA. They're much better at attacking than BDS on this map, but BDS are much better at defending than FURIA on this map. So I think we're going to still get that same very much stagnant, kind of stall-out gameplay, 1-for-1. I don't think either team really should be running away with this map from here.
Well, don't speak too soon. Two halves to a game of Siege.
There is always.
Although you've seen that balance between the two teams, you might see total disparity coming into the second half. FURIA could be awful at attacking, BDS could be crap at defending for all we know. You'd assume neither of those things are true, but it could well be. See how things set up.
I think a large portion of that previous round, though, JV, he kind of holds out Garage. Two players go for him. He gets the kill onto Solotov to begin with. And then, of course, Brede later in the round comes in for that flank. If he kills the Azami there, gets them into that Garage control, then the Blitz can make his way to the side. So JV holding strong. So in 2 rounds for FURIA now, it's kind of come down to like these individual plays where you've got like KZ over towards bot blue stairs and what he was able to do, and then in this particular round it's JV. So some really good individual plays on the defense for FURIA, but as a team they need to be collectively a lot better on the attack.
I do want to commend both teams as well, because for BDS, 2 of their 3 attacks into that base, that they went down the back way, didn't try and go through a standard server push. One time we did, we saw them completely running out of time. To try something a little bit different than trying to force it is one thing, but also for FURIA to be able to respond to that is another in itself. He's been super cheeky here and getting rid of users early on too. That's the Mozzie taking offline, which is not a dream spot to be in. Of course, normally has a C4 to play in back pocket, control those drones if he manages to hack one out. Don't believe he's caught any so far in the round, so that's his part in this round at least gone.
That's going to make it as well. 4 of the last 5 rounds opening kill go the way of FURIA, so they're starting to get what works for them going. That early round advantage. They've been the best at it all tournament across every single team. But it didn't work, it didn't happen on Cafe, but it is starting to take note here on Bank. They lose users, and a good start to this half for FURIA. More needs to be done. Leakefat over towards top square. And maybe just thinks about rotating back through archives, playing it rather safe. No top floor control right now for BDS, and here comes Herds. Talk about the timing. Mere seconds ago, Leakefat was in that very position. KZ's lurked into a really good spot as well. No contest either on the Nook.
Surely there's some sneaking suspicion here that they don't have Gary's control. Oh my God!
Solotov
I say again, suspicion there would be a player in garage, yeah, but to know the exact spot is another.
And to hit the shot.
And that as well. They've got the two, of course, bulletproof cameras out as well. It's why you've got the Brava on side to see those hacked away. In fact, users you can currently see was sat on a garage drone a second ago. Fair chance they've seen him step up here and they've just punished him off the back of that. Maybe he wasn't aware of that camera.
So for BDS, all 4 remaining players over towards basement now. No one on this first floor, no one contesting. Can still, of course, later on have potential flank options. Mozzie Pest being a pest. And Leak, in fact, could swing off of this if you're not careful. This could be a perfect opportunity. And the opportunity has been taken by such a professional. Good patience, pays off. Kill for BDS gives them now a very nice advantage going into the final 50 seconds of this round.
That feels like another good moment of counter prep and study of your opponent there as well, knowing that when a drone is coming in, there's going to be a player behind it. It's been years, really, since I've seen hot droning, as we used to call it, be the go-to that every team would do. But again, understanding each other and understanding their opponents here, BDS have capitalized on the back of seeing a drone coming down blue. Didn't even have to think about that one. Step out, hold down left mouse button, and he's got himself a 3v. 4v3 for BDS, making it 3v3. Leak of fact, falling down to Felipox, who comes away in 20 seconds.
Asphyxiating bolt goes out, kid in hand with nade, but he's going to drop that as he loses his life to Solotov, waiting patiently. Felipox, and that patience does work. Now down to a 2 versus 1, because Felipox just lost his life despite getting the kill on Shaiko. JV stuck over towards elevators. He cannot make his way out, but he's got no choice but to advance forward. He has to get out of here, go for the kills. It was always going to be far too difficult. Big round win for BDS, and again, another round that FURIA cannot convert an opening kill into a round win. 4-3. Advantage for BDS, and they're 3 rounds away from a spot in the grand final.
I've said that line a few times before. I think about BDS. The big question for them, they've probably already half got their mind on what comes on Sunday. Does that curse remain where they can't quite get it over the line? Or will they finally get to lift a hammer? Because Tim and I speak about this a lot when we cast is, think about players like Palu and Nesk. Big names that you probably imagine at some point should lift a hammer, but of course haven't. Could you imagine a world where Shaiko isn't a world champion? It would be bonkers, given how much people speak about him as probably the greatest player in the game. Yes, he's had a quiet tournament so far, but back on that last map, he was well and truly awoken. On this one, it's more about the new boys and Uzis and Solotov doing a lot of work for them. But as any player will tell you, it's always a team effort. I think to the top floor we go.
It goes to show you just how hard it is to win a hammer.
Oh, yeah.
There's only so many opportunities once a year. So many top teams vying for it. You can have a good 2-3 year stretch on a team where you're a top dog, and then maybe that's all the stretch that you get. And within that time frame, if you don't win one, you may never win one. For BDS, they've never even been in a Six Invitational grand final, let alone winning that hammer. Sure, they've been in positions elsewhere to win majors, for example, and that's kind of been their, unfortunately, sticking point throughout the last 12 months, Des, is they've been in good opportunities. You think of Manchester, you think of Montreal, but they've never been able to get over that hurdle, and there's similarities to like a FaZe Clan of last year's SI. You know, you think about for them coming into that SI, lost 2 semi-final majors. They were always so close, that final hurdle, and they couldn't get over it in the grand final either, which would be heart-shattering for BDS. Still ways to go, and only a 1 round differential. Back into it here onto the 8th round. FURIA by no means are out of this, Des. It's been back and forth here on Bank.
Running the shields themselves is the key one. Felipox stepping across onto it. Nice little set-piece play here along with the Thatcher to make sure this wall is definitely opened up. Bonk on the Selmas, and Uzis has got no choice here but to back away. One of those electro claws was dropped down off towards Stock. Tucked into the floor, hoping to conceal it away from FURIA and not give them any idea on where it is. And it may come back to bite them later in the round, but they have got the long angle down white. Oh, Shaiko almost getting tagged out on his retreat back in towards site there as well. This is the danger that you have. That ace can sit there forever, and you as a defensive team will now really struggle to use that wide corridor for rotates.
The FURIA opting now for the Montang as well. Felipox making his way up Banana. Opening kill for Solotov. Did lose a lot of his life, so he is quite vulnerable towards front desk. A good pick though for BDS, getting rid of JV. No more Salmas, no more ace available in this round. Time slowly dwindling. Solotov, at this point, he's already gotten at least 1 kill. Anything more is absolutely a bonus, but he is very much low on health.
You can get the cross here with Uzis who sat inside of elevator, mind you. We saw what happened when Leakyfat walked up lobby stairs last time, blindly got killed from elevators. The same can happen here if they aren't respectful to where these 2 players are. They know that he's here now. he's in a bit of danger. Has to be careful about things like nades coming flying on through. In fact, there are none. And sure enough, someone has stepped up and taken that 1 versus 1. Now, Philippox is on the march forward with that shield, just giving all the information over to his team. And where players are, it's going to be a real problem. Casey on the flank watch, a great kill.
And Solotov's been holding out. Hasn't moved. Big swing. Shaiko. Monty still to deal with. Gumine thrown at his location. But he loses his head to Herds. Long range shot is successful and Solotov will fall. He had no health. And Bride now to 1v3 and he has no chance. Response from Furia is swift. They tie things up on Bank. It's 4-4.
Live by the shield or die by the shield, I'm afraid, as well.
But the shield was quite important there for Furia. Going up Banana, they were able to deal with the elevator hole really, really well. There certainly were moments in that round, though, for BDS where, you know, you think about Likifak over towards Beepers, just kind of running around the corner, a little bit senseless.
Yeah.
Good, of course, watching from KZ, but you got to punish that. And this was the opening kill. We didn't quite get to see it from Solotov as to, of course, why he got so low, but he did find that kill, and it was at that point. Once they had cleared elevator, they had dealt with the flank attempt from Likifak. The rest of the round seemed rather seamless for Furia.
It was slow and controlled, often is the way with the Monty at the front. Of course, he can't move particularly fast, gives you a lot of information, blocks those bullets away, but isn't very lethal. You need the support of players around him to really capitalize on that operator's strengths. That's exactly what you saw in the round. They kept it really simple, didn't try and control too much of the map, sat on flank watches in KZ's case in case someone was coming up from base and was rewarded with his patience for a kill onto the Izami. It's a nice little change in pace, I think, for Furia overall, just to slow things down, play it more their way, and punish BDS with every small mistake they made.
This is where it gets tense as well. It's 4-4, both teams 3 rounds away from taking the map, and this is where you don't want to make those mistakes. This is where you've got to make sure you are inch perfect, you're making the right decisions, you're playing as a team, you don't go lone wolf mode. And this is where games can turn really quickly. It's not that difficult for these kind of teams to just get 3 rounds very quickly, just like that, from 4-4 to 7-4. Some very pivotal rounds forthcoming now for these two teams. BDS are this close.
The thing about the joke I made earlier about the 1 shield better than 2, blah, 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 blah. Well, I think Furia heard it as well. They're now running the 2 in this round, realizing that Philippox gave them a lot of space last round with the Monty. They want more of that, but a bit more lethality, and that's exactly what the Blackbeard brings. Great gun, of course. Able to really pressure players. We saw it in our series earlier today. Unwanted Spirits in particular doing a lot of work with that operator. So now BDS have got to try and find a way through the shields themselves. Things like the Legion may well help, and of course smokes and C4s, they do pretty well too. But you need a little bit more than that, I think, if you're going to fully deal with and keep them away here. Maybe even see a clash coming out in the next couple of rounds to slow them down.
Oh, this is interesting. Solotov, very aggressive, and had he just held that angle for really more than 1 second, he probably would have found the opening kill, but alas, he falls away with nothing. But still holds a very powerful position, at least for BDS on the defense. Lots of top floor control right now for BDS. Long angles of sight, but Likifak sees the shield man and is forced to drop. Yeah. But just slowly, Furia starting to really push BDS back towards the site. In fact, BDS now completely vacating top floor.
Yeah, they all drop down towards site, and as we've just seen on screen, they've opened that hatch to go down into the basement as well to give them more avenues to flank on towards Furia here. This is where they can pay the price if they're not careful, Furia, because last round what they did really well was stay bunched together. They didn't try and control more of the map than they actually needed. It was just lobby. It was getting themselves up those lobby stairs and then applying pressure onto the BDS side and punishing their mistakes. Here, you've got players potentially down in the basement you've got to worry about at the same time. They've got 1 stepping inside, Herds on the vertical at the same time. This is looking good. In fact, Usus is now trying to work his way up square at the same time. A lot of pressure coming in from different sides here from both teams.
I think JV's on a bit of a flank attempt to try and deal with Solotov. They got one of the shields in his way. 40 seconds as well, so there's not a lot of time. Furia need to continue to pick up this pace. Well, the anticipation was there for Solotov to understand that more numbers were coming in his direction, but JV just is better, wins the battle. Likifak has to get himself out of archives. JV finds another one, playing off this shield well. But there is still only 20 seconds left. Likifak, an annoying position, and he does find the kill onto Hertz. This round is open for the taking for both of these two teams, and it's going to come down into red time.
It's looking dangerous here as well. They're trying to force everything through in the last few seconds, but they've got what they need. The Monty's gone down. Can't quite find the Blackbeard. And sure enough, Furia will get it done. BDS need to find an answer to these shields.
2 more rounds and Furia could snap this undefeated streak of Bank for BDS. They are playing incredible right now. So incredible that a timeout has been called.
Let's go basement, let's go basement. Okay.
Okay guys, this is exactly what I said. I said if they ban Dimos and not Monty, they will play shield. Even if they never did this before, they will do now, okay? Because this is the only way they can win against us, okay? So now, what we can do, guys? Okay, we can make... What did you say?
Play echo every single, we should play echo every single round.
Late operator,
exactly. Yeah, Farty, what we can do, which you play, sorry, Goyo. Check Bride, you play Echo, I'm playing Mute, and we do like kinda I'm baiting full top floor and we do this setup. Yeah. Okay?
You wanna play Mute?
I deco,
no, you play
guys. I deco, guys, okay?
So we can go Kane.
Yeah, you can play Kane.
Yeah, someone need to make the...
You've heard a lot of the calls there about what the ideas they've got in mind. I love the confidence of coming into it with saying, we know this is the only way they'll beat us. We said at the start of the map they were going to play shields. This is all expected. Let's just not forget about the counter to that. Let's run the Ela. Let's bring along some tools that can help deal with this, and we'll be fine. And sure enough, we've got things like the Echo coming along. We've got the Vulcan canisters from the Goyo coming on side. We've got Legion stepping up to the fore. They are trying to find answers, but FURIA will know about this. Just like we saw during our earlier game, teams will rush after attack timeout. They'll try something aggressive to catch you offside and break that game plan apart.
Don't you think it's a bit weird, Des, to see a bunch of Brits in the crowd going for a French team?
It is a bit weird. If this was in the UK, it would be a massive problem, actually. It'd be a matter of national security. But over here, I feel we've got to back our European friends, so it's okay.
So
Tom's only half British at this point. He lives with you lot now, doesn't he?
5-4 lead. FURIA have been battling so mightily here on Bank. Again, BDS's map pick. BDS undefeated on this map. But FURIA now find themselves just 2 rounds away from throwing a real spanner in this upper bracket final. There is a world in which we could very well get to Clubhouse after all.
Shields all completely gone for FURIA. Probably seeing that lineup just think, okay, we know exactly what it is they've been speaking about during that timeout. We know what we need to do here is change away and just go back to playing our own style. Let's see if they can get a bit of backstab going on the Nook. Let's make use of that Capitao and all the utility it brings to do a bit of work and try and overwhelm BDS here with a utility-focused execute rather than a shield-based one.
Certainly not at the point so far where I think the pressure's mounting for either team, for that matter. The FURIA are 1 round away from at least guaranteeing overtime.
I think
but that probably puts more of it onto BDS.
Totally. I'll be sweating a little bit now. That's why you have the timeout. That's why you have that conversation around, okay, what can we do here to deal with the game plan? Problem now being FURIA stepped away. If you're BDS, you're probably thinking, cool, they're not playing shields. We know and we believe we could beat them without it. What happens if you lose this round? Mental starts to break a little bit there, and this map that you haven't been beaten on in nearly 2 years starts to slip away.
And you think about then taking that mental then into the next map. You have to go and play a follow-up one if we do get that result. So far, first floor hold from BDS hasn't really been tested. You've got 3 players holding key positions. Shaiko back at Solotov. Oh, hurts through the hatch, gets the headshot. League, in fact, wanted to play this plan on the Mute. We heard it in the timeout, but he can't win the battle, and Philippox gets rid of Solotov. And just like that, FURIA's momentum seems to be reaching a boiling point. Des, they've got a 2-player advantage. Could they find a 2-round advantage?
They've held on to those players there. I think Solotov going down especially. You don't hate seeing a Goyo go down early. One of those operators, once your gadgets are down, you're a free gun. Yeah, not a particularly quick one, but you are a free gun, and we know that Solotov can shoot. We've seen it throughout this map and throughout the series so far. But expending 2 players for, what, 1.5 minutes of time? Does not really feel like a worthwhile trade. They've got so much to lean in here with the Yokai drones, with the C4s, with those goo mines as well. What they need more than anything, though, Jake, is a couple of kills.
Triple stack basement now for BDS. Inside of the next 40 seconds, we shall see if FURIA can get themselves onto map point. Shaiko, Bride, uses absolute legendary names in Rainbow Six Siege. Pull off a big round here in the 10. Chance for Shaiko, and he does not miss his chance. He takes it. Headshot kill onto JV, sees the kit temporarily, and now 20 seconds left. It could throw the round into a bit of disarray here for FURIA. If they get stalled out, Vulcan canister popped over towards default. Big kill for Nate, shuts down Shaiko, and suddenly it seems like FURIA might just have numbers, but they've lost a couple. And Philippe will see double from users as BDS steal that round from FURIA. It's 5-5.
Wow. just when it looked like Nade was going to be the X factor that the FURIA needed to get in from Garage, pick off a couple of players and break the backbone of that BDS side. Users goes absolutely nuclear. There's been a couple of rounds in this map, to be fair, Jake, where they pulled it back from being behind. Let's not forget they were down 3 versus 5. And it came down to some moments of magic. Users now up to 12 and 6 on bank. Looking unbelievably good. And for FURIA, probably scratching their heads a little bit like, how did we lose that one, boys?
It is a steal for BDS. Now, it seems like I think we're getting a rehost coming in for this round. Unfortunately, tech pause. The Nitrocell was so impactful that it just blew up the server. 5-5 scoreline. And now we have to be just teased temporarily. Hopefully, it won't take too long. But it just gives us a point, Des, to kind of just think, breathe, look back. That round, FURIA, again, so well in the early portion. But when it comes to that site execution, they have been a little bit messy. And it cost them big time in this round. They should have won this. It was a 2 versus 4. But you've got to say, in terms of what users, Brine and Shaiko, for that matter, were able to do in that round, you can see what it means to them.
To all of them, a big 4K for users. The prior round, of course, was JV92's 4K. So we've seen multi-kills every single round this half. A 3K in round 7 and 8. Since then, it's been 2 4Ks. And I always like to look at these and be, saying, well, it's okay, it's a hero play. Let's have a moment here. Let's pause for a second. We need to see more team-based play. But this is where the difference is made when teams are playing so well at such a close level, as we saw through all of that first half. Sometimes it does take a player to have that moment of magic, to get a big multi-kill, to get a double C4, to drag around over the line, and that's exactly what BDS have done.
That's the beauty of this game.
It is.
Even at a 2v4 or 2v5 even at that moment, you can always still have that duo find a way. I will say, though, that the technical pause, if anything, might benefit FURIA simply on the fact of you could see in the player cams the excitement and the hype from BDS of winning that particular round in the fashion that they did it, Des. It really does now feel as if at 5-5, we just head in beautifully neutral. Yeah, both teams get a little breather, of course. Tech pause, can't really talk, can't discuss or anything like that, but they can just sit back, breathe, okay.
Calm your heart rate,
calm things down a little bit, think about the last few rounds, maybe just think about internally what you want to find in the next couple to come. But it's break point. You win this round, you've got map point, and if that's for BDS, you're then 1 more round away from a grand final appearance. So there's a lot going through the minds of these players right now.
Makes you wonder how this one closes out. We at least see all 12, as you said, at 5-5, you're guaranteed to see all 12 rounds of regulation. But of course, overtime awaits after that, if of course they take a round each. It's certainly no guarantee, not with how. We've had 4 multi-kill rounds in a row. 4 big players, 4 big moments, enough to see their teams over the line in those moments. What awaits us in round 11?
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the statistics as well. You know, what was intriguing back on Cafe, we spoke about it a few times, Des, about, the opening kills and the conversions of them. Firstly, the dominance when it came to BDS, only giving up 2 rounds over to FURIA, but they converted every single round, BDS. That they got an opening kill, they got the round. Now over to Bank, and so far that's completely flipped. I mean, it's just red X's everywhere, indicating that if you do get that opening pick, you haven't then been able to convert the round. So far, only 4 rounds that a team got the pick actually got converted. In fact, only 1 of those to BDS. So they've really struggled in that department. So they're fighting a little bit more, right? They're more in that sort of fighting in the mud. Things aren't quite going perfect, but BDS are finding a way. Whereas on Cafe, they were really dominating. And in the end, the scoreboard reflected that when it was 7-3. Wasn't quite the case at the beginning, but they were certainly dominating on Cafe. Not to be here on Bank, it's far more of a contest. 5-5 really highlights that perfectly.
I think it just speaks to the chaos of Bank overall as a map, right? Whereas Cafe did feel a little bit more controlled. You could see the flow moving. It's barely been anywhere near that, I think, at this point. It has been a much more chaotic map. But that's what I want from a series. I don't want one that on paper you can go, I know exactly how this will go. It'll be an easy 2-0. These guys will get a 4-2 half, and then they'll try and fight back, but they won't be able to because they're not very good at attacking that map. I like it when there's a little bit of chaos to really spice things up, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could probably make the argument when you looked at this matchup on paper, it was very, very difficult to predict. You could have made really good arguments for both sides, and for this game,
and you still can.
Oh, you still can. I mean, right now it's very difficult because FURIA have looked really, really good on Bank. You go and take this map. Clubhouse is a genuine 50-50. I remember saying to you earlier in the green room, before we even got the map vetoes, or just after it, I saw Clubhouse as the decider. I'm like, if we get to Clubhouse, that could be a very fun map because it is a genuine 50-50. Even when it comes to attack and defense, it's the most 50-50 map that we've got in the pool right now at SI.
What I love about Club is it is such bread and butter siege.
Yeah.
It is like standard siege play. If the series has to end there, oh my God, what a map it will be to see the close.
Well, cheers in the crowd for some wonderful cosplay, but hey, what about let's get into this game? It's round 11, heading into Bank.
Only main comment is I think the players put themselves in a... no, I'm wrong. They're in a wonky order when they join the lobby incorrectly, because the reason why, to break the fourth wall a little bit, why rehost can take a bit of time sometimes, is you have players having to join in a certain order, one at a time to get themselves back in. So things like player cams will match up, all that kind of good stuff.
Unfortunately, though,
the wrong score is incorrect, so we have to
we got the wrong score.
Oh.
It is 5-5, so we are going to have to rehost again. Do apologize. Hey, just more tension building. That's all it is. For everyone involved. Us, the players, the fans.
You can call it that if you want to.
Oh, I think I will.
It should be pretty quick for us to get back into things. So it's one of them where, like you said, the energy comes back down again. It settles in the middle between the two teams again. It gets everyone reset and ready to go. But when you're at 5-5 and, you know, a couple of rounds can be the difference here between going to a map 3 or you being knocked down for lower bracket, there's still that level of tension that exists regardless.
Absolutely. And it's really now going to come down to who can be the better of the two teams coming out of what's, you know, ended up being a rather lengthy tech pause situation where you're kind of just sitting there with your thoughts. And once we get back into the server, then of course you can start to discuss things very, very quickly and just what everyone's been feeling and thinking over the last couple of minutes. Hopefully not too much longer until we can get back underway. It is 5-5 right now. Just again, a reminder in terms of the scores that we have. Second map, BDS did take the opening map, 7-3. On that rather convincingly. FURIA's looked a lot better here on Bank. But again, for me, because of the fact it's 5-5, you know, this is the thing, Des. If it was 2-2, whatever, doesn't really matter. You can get a round or two to get the cobwebs out and then you're back underway. But it's 5-5. We've now had a rather lengthy pause and you've got to get straight back into things, and the next round is just ever so crucial. I mean, you have to be sharp once we get back into the server. There is no time to moan about, oh, we've been sitting there for the last couple of minutes. Well, so is the other team. You're both in the same situation now. And it's about who can take the last few minutes and channel that energy that you've been building up individually into the server for this next round, which is so important. Secures OT at minimum, put yourself on match point. Don't want to lose this next round.
Well, speaking of, let's talk about that next round as well, given I've got a minute or two here before we get ourselves back into the game. We're probably going to see top floor coming out again here. The only rounds that we've seen BDS locked down in this half have been in the basement. We've played that again now. It is no longer available for the next two rounds. I imagine we go back to top floor here. Where they really got bullied off last time was by the shields, but BDS have had that tack timeout. They've spoken about shields and how they want to respond to them. Up on the top floor, I don't think it's as easy as saying, oh, just bring along a Goyo and play a bit more Legion and do blah, 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 blah. It is not going to be that straightforward, but I do think FURIA here will come out with shields, and BDS are going to need to find an answer. If nothing else, plan for an answer, because of course in the defense, you don't get to repick your operators. That privilege is left to the attackers only. They get to adapt to what they see. You are very much stuck. So in BDS's shoes, they're going to have to play something really defensive here, I think, and not let those shields run riot like they've done before.
Well, should they play more aggressive in the early portion of these rounds? I think BDS defensively have been rather on the more reactive positioning. I mean, it's Bank. You can be proactive. You can certainly get going and try and play more aggressive positions. As we see the fist bumps on the stage, we can get back underway here for Bank. Second map of the upper bracket final. Heading into the 11th round, scores tied, deadlock here between these two teams, 5-5. A breakpoint moment. Winner of this round will go to map point. If it's BDS, it will be match point.
Again, for me, I'm keeping a real close eye on these shields and also the lineup coming out from BDS, because they have to anticipate that shields will make a return. And sure enough, I'm seeing on my screen at least, we've got Yokai drones, we've got smokes, we've got the goo mines coming out the Legion, we've got the castle to set up some more safe defensive angles for the defenders to be able to rotate through. It says to me that they've at least considered the shields are a thing here. If FURIA read into that and see the Yokai, they probably think, okay then, let's not play shields here. Let's play guns up as we did last round, and we can see, I'd say, good success. They, of course, lost out to a 4K from users. That's not going to happen every single round. So they can play either style here, and I think this is where FURIA are starting to flex the muscles a bit and show they can play all these different styles. And the onus, as it was back on the first map, really, at least a part of it, is on BDS to be the ones to adapt.
Well, it couldn't be closer, 5-5. BDS on defense again. A reminder, we had a little bit of a delay in the action. The rehost has also wiped the KDAs down the bottom. But to give a refresher, 12-6 to users, leading the way for BDS. He's been sensational, and when it comes to FURIA, it's a rather even performance. You know, 8-5 across the 5 players. So the highest rated being Nade with 8 kills, the lowest Herds with 5. So a more even performance across the board for the team of FURIA. BDS have been certainly very thankful to users so far on Bank. You think about even more so that double kill Nitrocell that basically won them the round as well prior to the rehost.
Nothing else, getting themselves set up on the windows. Very used to seeing this on this top floor site. And Claymores to boot. As we've seen, both teams at points try very aggressive runouts or jump outs. Do not blame them at all. Dutchy FURIA, who walked away with a couple of kills back in that first half off the back of a jump out. Will BDS try the same? I don't really ever regard them as a hyper-aggressive defensive team. It's never really been their nature. Even back under the old roster, it's certainly improved recently. I mean, we saw them on the last map challenging all 3 fours. It was brilliant to see. But it's not their way to go throwing themselves out of buildings all too often. Not least against FURIA, a team that would have that sort of thing on lockdown.
Good drone information from Nade. Putting a few in towards side. 4B still left in the Quan Hive launcher as well. A little jump up moment here for users to see if he too can find some information.
What I do worry about a little bit is not bringing along Havana. Because you're facing off against the castle and you're facing off against the Kiba barriers coming out from Leakyback on this top floor. You're going to see a lot of work being done by them, a lot of spots they can lock down. And sure, you've got the Ash on side, you've got the Sandwich, you've got Flores as a good alternative. Completely get it. But I often like seeing Havana for this because it draws players in to have to shoot off the X-Kairos as well. It's information that you gain as a result from it. Just think here that they've kind of really got 2 or 3 operators to do what one could have done for them pretty well and still afford a lot of flexibility. KZ, his nemesis, comes back once again. Shaiko gets him.
JP wants to take the battle. Does have the diffuser. Got to be careful, and almost won again by Shaiko, and surely no, JP wins it. Thought for a split second Shaiko might have had the better of him, but no, not to be. All tied up. 4 versus 4 with 40 seconds. What a shot from Leakyback though. Over from Long Desk. And just gives BDS a significant advantage into the final 30 seconds. Forces Hertz forward, Brede with the swing, and BDS's defense is looking rather locked down. Out of that tech pause, BDS have come out stronger. And guess what, Des? They find themselves 1 round away from a spot in the Six Invitational Grand Final, because there is no chance for Nade.
Window. Someone's going to go out, surely. There he goes. Finds himself inside, and it's a close down for Leakyback. Match and series point, grand final point on the line here, Jake.
Can they close it out and book their spot in the Six Invitational Grand Final for the first time ever?
Plays consecutivas que os caras estão jogando com eco, a gente tá demorando horrores, a gente quer finalizar plantando, a gente não vai ganhar o round desse jeito. Dificultou já a coisa, vamos fazer algum split, tá ligado? Senão a gente só vai mamar. Os caras tá ainda peitando, que a gente tentou só punir o cara, a gente não pegou a kill e tal. Então a gente não ia ganhar esse round aqui plantando, a gente tinha que splitar, tá ligado? Vamos ficar atento com isso. 2 rounds seguidos os caras pegando eco. Vai ser play da área aberta. Vocês querem fazer só um split lá em cima pra gente dominar? Depois a gente vê? Ou querem fazer uma DZ? O que vocês estão pensando?
Eu acho que eles vão querer ficar abusando desse eco, igual acho que a DZ vai ser ruim, tá ligado?
I would say like I said, Kate tomorrow. I don't know about Sheko, you play Tubaro. Josh, you play Kaid. I can play Mute. Brede Clash and you play Scope. I don't think we can play Capcan. If I'm playing Capcan, no rotate with Mute.
It's fine. You want to shield or not?
Glad you want, Brede.
I just love that they're building strats on the fly here, Jake. I think every time we've heard a BDS timeout, they're discussing, okay, you play this, I play that, a rotate goes here, we do this. Most teams come armed in with a massive book of strats that you can roll out and say, okay, strat C, what we're going to run this round. These boys are building it literally on the fly, and I do love that there's that dynamic nature to it, that they've got that flexibility, that experience to be able to craft things in response to what they're seeing coming out of FURIA.
Yeah.
I'd imagine they're seeing or expecting aggression, pace coming out from FURIA here to force us up to overtime.
Well, FURIA are the ones now that find the pressure certainly mounted onto them. Match and series point for BDS. They'll only get 1 opportunity. If FURIA win this round, we go to overtime and we get a little bit more siege for the day. BDS, though, I would love to close things out here. Book their place in the grand final, have tomorrow off, enjoy the festivities, and just sit back, relax.
And
figure out who they're going to play.
Not a lot of relaxing to do tomorrow, I guarantee. I mean, prepping for who you expect to see in the grand final. So maybe the players get to chill a little bit, but I guarantee the backroom staff.
No, the backroom staff will be hard at work. In fact, probably even more at work.
They absolutely will.
Well, Solotov's on the score boss here, so this will be intriguing for BDS. I always find it a contentious operator choice because it feels hit and miss a lot of the times.
I think it's the use of it isn't always like the ideal, the way that we envision the Scott Boss being used. You know, playing off on the roam here, as soon as the heat starts to build up, teleport back down to you in the shell, and you can leave that one to die upstairs. Really isn't the end of the world. The players often play their lives a bit too far out on that front, and it can sting them. We see more defensive players actually leaving the shell on site itself to use both the shield and a bulletproof camera. Gives you an awful lot in that regard. I'm more interested though in BDS's overall lineup. Seeing the Kaid and the two Browser pairing, having the Clash on side as well. They've really wanted to lock things down here, but with the site that we're on, it's arguably the one that's hardest to lock down overall. Like, of course, you can keep the quad wall in towards square, locked up tight. Outside of that, I think if FURIA want a way in, they're going to find a way in.
But that might be a way in as Shaiko just spotted below Herds, who couldn't get the kill, but did some damage. Some as well on to Solotov. And FURIA have been at their best when they get these early round kills. So far, not to be found here in a very pivotal round. For Esports, there's one, and it will be an elimination onto Leakyfak, who was not anticipating one down below. And with that, hacked cams as well from the Dockerby. So a nice little advantage for FURIA gained via that kill for Epox.
Of course, getting the second shells, visibility as well if they want it, but no bulletproof cameras on side. We've seen BDS run quite a few of them throughout the half. Not going to be a big consideration for them. Never a bad one to find too early on. I think the mutes, well, the C4s were already all used or deployed by the team. That third one most definitely not going to be available anymore. FURIA starting to circle like sharks, so they've got this top floor control. They have another phone call coming out here. All four players being hit up, but no deaths coming through except for Leakyfak so far. They've used the bulk of their utility here is my main concern, Xenox. I think FURIA might run out of gas if they're not really definitive in how they hit the site.
Yeah, next kill is going to be so important, and they need to find a way to also navigate this clash over towards Staff. They cannot just walk straight into it. They need to find kills around it, almost leave it last if they possibly can. Positioned a little bit over towards Stock now. Nade with the kit, so the drop looks like that will come through. Boogie Auto Preacher sent in from KZ. It is Shaiko that finds a very important one though, on to JV. Shaiko down, Solotov to fall. Big kill from Herds, and they're doing the job right now. FURIA fighting the kills all around this clash. Bride just could never get involved, and FURIA will send this map to overtime. More siege required today, ladies and gentlemen.
Clinical from FURIA. Great use of the verticals to put pressure onto Copy. Removed all the support for that clash, who had zero chance of getting out of that 1v4, that's for sure. But it's just how they managed to move the players on site and force them into uncomfortable spots where the verticals could do their work. FURIA start things off in OT on the defense. BDS on the attack. I think quite naturally we're going to see a lot of shield play coming out from BDS. Sure enough, it's Bride going on to that. Basis where will attack as well, it's worth noting. A very dug-in comp coming out from FURIA. I'm seeing things like the Smoke, the Warden, the Kaid, the Goyo once again. Really looking to run that clock down, and this is where the challenge will come on to BDS. We've seen them attack this site a good few times now. They really struggle when attacking through server, the most default attack onto this site. When they've tried to go through the back way or going through lobby down through elevators, they've seen a little bit more success. So I want to see them trying to keep the other side guessing, because if FURIA just find themselves in a comfortable spot knowing exactly what's coming, things are going to start to look very shaky for BDS, and FURIA will be the ones up to 7-6.
Yeah. This is where the pressure always is at its highest point. BDS, you're so close to this grand final moment, to this birthplace. FURIA, so close to Clubhouse. First to 8. An upper bracket final, second map, overtime moment here. And these are where moments are made. At Six Invitational towards Electrical. JV thinks about a peek, but Herds opens up a doorway and a pathway to escape. Don't want to be losing players at the 2.5 minute mark when you're on defense bank.
I like a little swap around there where it was Herds and JV playing together around square. They've now both gone deep on the way through, dropped down one of those Vulcan canisters, and now KZ has taken their spot up on blue stairs. So a little bit of a cheeky spawn peek coming out. Don't mind losing the Goyo, it's not the end of the world, but you definitely don't want to lose the Warden, which is why they've made that swap here quite early on.
You don't want to lose the Smoke either. Nade has to play the drop, and he does. Doesn't really play overly aggressive, smart. Gives up all first floor control though if you are FURIA, so all 5 now towards basement. Of course, there's a blue stairs hold with KZ. He did a significant job last time against the Montank. There is no Monty this time though. He does have one of the 2 Nitrocells. So it puts a bit of pressure onto someone like Felipox to back up Nade with those gas canisters, delaying that default push. Of course, KZ will play the front line if they do go for a server side hit. But BDS have got a very flexible lineup.
Oh, seeing just for the pixels as well. Herds down about half HP there, starting to come under threat. Of course, it's got the cover of KZ in behind. Solotov loves zapping this guy, by the way. It's probably the 3rd or 4th time this series I've seen him go for him with the Twitch drone. Of course, does so little damage, but it can be all the difference. 1 or 2 bullets is what gets made up there by those 5 points of damage.
Up close now, KZ wants to take his position. Top blue stairs, Hertz though, he dies out to Solotov.
Fire there, bro. Okay.
KZ got to win this fight, and he does just do so. Another one close by, but it's BDS that wins that battle, and with the kid, makes his way towards server. Under a minute remaining. And it seems rather clear now the way in which BDS want to hit this site. So there's 3 gas canisters that Nade has, needs to delay this server side push.
That or BDS have to go deep, but they've got no smokes to play behind. They've got a lot of Grimbees they can make use of, but that really is about it. I just think those 3 smokes will be more than enough. They've got a C4 they can play behind as well. FURIA should be able to hold out.
Leaky Fact towards admin. 2 more gas babes available for Nade. There is still, most importantly, a Nitrocell in the hands of Felipox, but he wants to hold it a little longer, especially while Nade has those gas canisters. He's not going to be there to throw that, and that will be the plant down successful. BDS have just stuck into the site, got the job done. It's daylight robbery. Straight through the gas babes. Got rid of Felipox, dealt with that Nitrocell before it even left his hands, and suddenly JV92 and Nade with an almost impossible task there.
If they'd hit that smoke onto BDS, we're having a very different conversation right now, but it was just short. BDS quite smartly and riskily so, taking a deep plant on the door rather than the breach itself, as you can see now. They've got to force their way back through, but there is no time left. They've left it far too late. Shaiko and BDS clean up. 1 more round, boys, and the grand final is yours. I'll give you 1 chance to guess who the crowd are backing.
BDS certainly getting the ovation from the crowd as they now lead 7-6, and for the 2nd time on bank, find themselves in a match point scenario. This time they get 2 opportunities to close out this map. And it was a rather well-worked attack, to be completely honest. Sometimes when you're going for this rather default hit through server, there's decent stall, you still had gas babes, there was still a Nitrocell. They just hit some really good shots, got rid of some big pieces off the board. They were able to get in, get that plant down. And again, there was that 1 gas canister that just misses out. Unfortunately from Nade, that allows the plant to go down. That then arguably gets BDS the round. And they are now up 7-6 here on bank. 2 chances. Can they close out, or can FURIA win the next 2 rounds and send us to Clubhouse?
Look at where we're going. Down to the basement, round 7, round 10, BDS played down here. They won both. And they had that tactile that we spoke about. They discussed how to counter shields. They've brought along those operators. We've got the Goyo on side. We've got the Yokai drones. And sure enough, there is a shield on the other side. FURIA here could be walking into what BDS will consider their best answer to a shield composition. They've got to be so careful with how they approach this round.
And the issue as well, when it comes to FURIA, is you're in this position where you now have to win 2 rounds in a row. The last time they did that here on Bank was rounds 8 and 9, so it's been a little bit of time there, but they have done it twice. They are capable, and they do get the opening kill, and a big one at that. Blue Stairs opened up with that death of users. It gives a big power position on this map to FURIA very early in the round.
Look at the comparison as well for how long, how much time FURIA waited on Blue Stairs versus BDS. BDS have lost that spot inside 40 seconds. That's a collapse that you can't really be afforded to happen there, but that pace from FURIA caught users off guard. He's paid the price. FURIA have everything they need going here to get this back up to 7-7. I just really hope they don't leave it too late and suffer to those Vulcan canisters, to the Yokais, to those 3 smoke canisters, because BDS can stall for a long time.
Yeah, honestly, really good pressure from FURIA. They've already forced the quad stack over towards basement for BDS, so they've had to drop, give up key positions, such as elevators, open, and staff as well. This is a little bit of a micro win for FURIA, considering they got the opening pick on the users, they got blue stairs, they got server-side control as well. The main things that they need to deal with from here, Des, is certainly the Vulcan canisters, the gas canisters, and Shaiko, apparently. JV goes for a peek over towards the hatch. He is playing the Maverick. He's largely done his job this round, but still, you give one back to BDS.
Exposing himself needlessly as well. You've
There's
got
no
lots of time to play with, you've got all the drones up. You don't need to be peeking and searching for players below, not least the caliber of BDS, who will take your skull off in a single shot. The player they've lost needlessly, a gun that they're down. One less player to drop in and make this execute happen.
And don't forget as well, Users has been the best player in the server, 4th bank, 13-7, so getting that kill, having the player advantage, but then throwing it away could be a determining factor of the round here for FURIA.
First smoke coming out there from Rede. They start their step on boards. Philippot is the one dancing around server. There's much more really on the other side to figure a way through.
Too one-dimensional right now for FURIA, though. 3-man stack. KZ offers the point of difference over towards main stairs. Spots one left side through that corridor. 20 seconds. Gas Babe's going out now from Rede. Solotov with the double, but a very important kill from KZ. Nade has to play the drop now. They've got to go get that kit as well. Over towards server. Up close to Zami. Breeder. And for the first time ever, BDS will play off in the Six Invitational Grand Final. It feels like a long time waiting for this roster to make their mark. We'll see if they can go on and put that mark in the history books, but they need to defy some rather cursed odds. No team since default maps got taken away who won the upper bracket, then went on to win the grand final. That is something BDS will have to challenge on Sunday.
They looked so locked in during that game. Of course, a few moments on Cafe, we were asking questions, but doing more than enough to get it over the line. Responding well to the shield pressure coming out from FURIA. And you heard them during the timeouts, Jake. It sounded like they just knew what to expect and how to respond. And not many teams can say they've got a read on FURIA, but BDS with that 2-0 have shown that they were the ones who wrote the book.
What a wonderful upper bracket final. Commiserations, of course, for FURIA, but we will see them again tomorrow. For now, we go to Ian on the stage with Liquefac.
Thank you very much. Boston, are we happy with this result? Commiserations to FURIA. They did the impossible last year. This year is not their time. BDS booked their spot in a Six Invitational Grand Final for the first time ever. What does that mean to you?
It means everything. We worked the whole year to be here at this moment on Sunday. So yeah, everything we played, we at least go to finals. So it will be the best thing for us to win this final.
You've of course had some success in the Middle East. It hasn't been the case for you in majors over the past couple of years. You made it into grand finals. Why will this year SI be different?
Major is major, but when there is a big competition, the Esports World Cup or SI, we are here.
You have felt like a different beast here at this event. You've brought out a fire in yourself. It's always been there, but when you go into that zone, you're impossible to deal with. Are you feeling that there's something unlocked in you at the moment?
Yeah, I don't know how to explain, but I feel like for everyone in the team, at some points when we really want to win, we just win. So yeah, it will be our moment on Sunday for sure.
Boston, give it up for Liquefac and Team BDS. See you Sunday. Enjoy your rest. We will see you Sunday for the grand final, and of course we'll find out who BDS will be up against tomorrow. But for now, we are going to go to a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll be picking apart everything we just saw go down on our analysis desk, and of course looking ahead to tomorrow. Look at this. It's SI, baby. Don't go anywhere.